Well, you know.
I went fast.
Yeah, that was quick.
I did fast.
You snuck one in there. It was like you threw normally you throw like a big
know.
hook, but that was just
Yep.
you snapped that jab
It
off.
was a jab.
Yeah, you caught
at
me.
At your ribs.
Caught me looking.
Put it right in your left rib.
Glass Joe body shot.
I mean, left ribs, plural. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, you could hit me in one rib, the floating
I guess
rib.
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aim for that bottom one, easily cracked.
That's right.
Seems like that's, that floating rib thing, that seems like a design flaw right there. We got to talk to someone about that.
Yeah, what's up, God?
Yeah, like what's the deal,
Why don't you talk to God and tell him?
Well, and I got that thing like with the appendix too. Like there's some.
Yeah, what's the appendix? It doesn't do anything?
Yeah, it kills you.
Oops.
Oh,
Misfire.
Don't get, well, it kind of fits, right? Don't get angry with the man. You just have like a little time bomb inside your body. It doesn't do anything other than potentially kill you.
Yeah.
Feels like, again, design flaw.
So it has literally no purpose.
I think at some point they said like evolutionary, like it used to have a purpose, but no, I like you don't need one. And you would think that nowadays, like when you're a baby, why don't they just cut that son of a gun right out? Like it seems like all it does. Have you ever had someone in your family that has to have an emergency one?
My wife?
Yeah. It
was not good, man. She was in the hospital for a while.
Yeah. So it's like, what are we
8 years.
What are we doing? Like, right when
I'm just kidding. It was like 8 days.
Your stintery? Like
yes.
everyone, like just
it's stentoria.
Stentoria.
Yes.
Yeah. We need to have like right when you're born, just, while you're in there, let's just hack that sucker off.
Well, I've also got my lumbar idea.
Yeah.
So a preemptive stentory is where we're just going to open up these places called stentorias, and we'll serve margaritas and chips and salsa and stuff. But the idea is to just put stents in your heart.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need them.
Yeah, you're going to need them eventually.
So
we're
it's
all
preemptive.
Terribly like horrible diets.
So, and you can do that once you're an adult, you know, sign a paper, sign a waiver for sure.
Yeah.
And then have a couple margs and we'll stint you up and you should be good to go. My next one was the lumbar, I forget the name of it. The vertebrae, but there was a catchy name that the listeners named our.
Yeah, we had a bunch of them, like the lumbar yard, and it's
something like that. But yeah, it's like when we're just gonna give you a new vertebrae, so you don't have to worry about your vertebrae as you get older.
Exactly.
Just drop a new one in there
just
for
throw
you.
them in there. So let's do that with
and
the appendix.
now we're gonna do this with. We're just gonna have. We're gonna have this for the appendix.
Yeah, he says this is from the Google. It said this is what people think. We don't even know. It says the entire digestive tract helps your immune system, but some scientists and doctors think the appendix may be a place for our body to store certain healthy types of gut bacteria that otherwise could be altered or changed during an intestinal illness or overuse of antibiotics. You know what else we have for that? Probiotics. We don't need it. It's insignificant. It's just sitting in there waiting to kill you. So what are we doing?
All right, well, let's take them out.
Right from the get. Oh, yeah, someone said it was good vertebrations.
Good vertebrations,
Yes.
That's right. We have your back.
Yeah, we got your back.
Yeah.
So, like, as part of this, like, kind of one-all holistic approach, we're throwing the appendectomy.
So,
appendectomy in there?
There you
Is that
go.
what it is?
Now we need to name that.
Yeah.
Name that. Vancouver Ford text line.
Yeah.
Name
Just chop that sucker out. We don't need that thing.
Do it. More money for us, man.
Yeah.
Capitalist pigs we are.
Hell yeah. Well, it's not like the healthcare system's doing a great job anyways.
No kidding.
Has anyone ever been like, God bless the American healthcare system?
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got big news.
Besides the stentory, and what are we doing?
We have begun something very exciting here on the broadcast and on the station. It is the Isaac and Suk Drop Bracket Challenge.
Yes, because it's March, therefore everyone has to do some form of bracket.
And it is underway. What?
You know it unless you have a bracket nowadays.
It's underway. Okay, so you can view the whole bracket at 1080thefan.com. And if you don't know what a drop is, it's things like this.
Hey, Lane Kiffin.
Or this.
You're making me uncomfortable.
Or this.
He's a beast!
Or this.
We'll do it live.
And so we have some good ones over the years. You know, we've been on the air for a long time, and the people really like the drops. As a matter of fact, some people tell me that when they're out and about in the wild, they speak in drops.
Yeah, it makes me happy.
And every once in a while, somebody else will also speak in drops, and they will make eye contact. And
there's nothing better than when someone drops a Willamette, and you know, and you instantly know.
Willamette.
You're gonna go to that lake. There's a bond there.
So it's kind of like that meme where it's like you make eye contact and then you probably just nod like Sam Elliott.
You know.
I'm going to that link.
You know.
Oh, you listen to Rop and Sook too.
That's
Okay,
right.
so we put together a bracket. There are 32, not 64, but 32 drops, and the first 4 first round matchups are in.
Yeah.
The results are in.
I'm not happy about one of them.
We've already played the games.
Yeah.
Now these, okay, so here's the other thing you guys need to know. If you want to vote on these, if you really want to be an active participant in this, just keep an eye on our Twitter feed. I just put 4 more matchups up there. So if you go to at 1080 the fan on X, you can vote on these matchups, and they'll be put up there pretty much daily all the way through until next week.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated.
And we'll keep you updated on the show. But if you want to be proactive, just go to our Twitter feed and scroll through, and you'll see the matchups. So we've got some that are up there now. For example, in the ROP regional, right now you can vote on this first round matchup. What an exciting time! That is, of course, Lane Kiffin.
What an exciting time.
And the great Seth Everett.
You have a responsibility to your audience to be more responsible.
That's tough.
And I can't fit all that in the character limit of, but you guys.
Yeah,
know.
we'll get the gist of it.
So that's one matchup. We also have this matchup.
Ruff is an idiot.
Versus, where is
it? Bloop, 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 bloop. Anybody searching?
Buckley might have to help me with that one. It was in my mouth. So tasty.
Can we find it somewhere?
I don't have that one on my sheet.
Ah, bless their heart.
Yeah, we're doing great here.
Yeah,
Okay, so
we're off
then
to a rousing start.
on the Souk regional, we have Screw You, Rob, against My Son is an Idiot.
I'm sure Eiserman will be happy about that.
My son is an idiot. And it was in my mouth. So tasty.
So there's that one.
Yeah.
That's up against Rop is an Idiot,
Yeah.
not to be confused with My Son is an Idiot.
No. Two
Ruff is an idiot.
very separates.
Very separate.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Screw You, Rop against My Son is an Idiot. And then we have this one here. If I can.
Searching.
Oh, F.
Kind of enjoy that one. Go ahead and cut that. Oh, F.
I don't know. Watchdogs over the Metropolitus.
I can't find it. To hell with it. I can do it. Watchdogs over the Metropolitus.
Yeah, that is going up against this. No, I don't have that one either. It's thick. It's meaty. Look, just vote.
We're doing
Watchdogs over the Metropolitus.
Just go on there. And,
timely. Great opener for us.
so
Great.
go vote on those. And here I have results of the first
It's
4
thick,
matchups.
it's meaty.
There it is.
Yeah.
You want the results of the first 4?
Yeah, I know him. I'm not happy about one. One was already my dark horse to make it to the final 4 because the winners of these are going to end up on a t-shirt. And by the way, I may just say screw it and just put this one and make a t-shirt out of it because how this lost, I don't know. It's the best drop we've had in years.
I think you're talking about this. He's going to go get him one of those Milwaukee Butter Hogs.
How that didn't win its first round matchup, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Sook's so upset about it that he's demanding we get actual merch for that shirt regardless.
Yes, I'm already in the design process. I promise the listeners one thing. Regardless of what happens, when we roll out t-shirts, and we will roll out t-shirts for purchase, there will be a Milwaukee Butterhog shirt. It needs to happen.
He's going to go get him one of those Milwaukee Butter Hogs.
I will never not laugh at that, ever. And it killed me. The rest of the show, I was useless after you dropped that.
That was about Damian Lillard.
Damian Lillard.
Yeah,
yes.
like what's he going to do now that he's in Milwaukee? Well,
And divorced. He's going to go get him one of them Milwaukee Butter Hogs. Okay, that lost by a 60% to 40% margin
I don't like it.
to this.
Rocking you on a Friday. Why did I say that?
Look, and I
Look,
know
that's a classic.
It's a classic. I understand. It's a classic. I understand it's been around a long time, but I look, I love Butterhogs. I do. So what?
That's a tough first round.
It's
matchup.
tough. That's a 5 versus 12 right there.
Tough draw.
That's a tough draw.
Okay, so then we had, and these polls had been up for a couple days, so they were on our Twitter feed. So here's the results of the Souk Regional Round 1 matchup. We have, of course, this. Now, you want to talk about classics.
Yeah.
We've got this
Sports is sports.
That's,
going up against this.
What is the freaking Texans doing?
well,
The original.
Yeah, that is the original.
Not to be confused
No.
with this,
What is the freaking
Panthers.
doing?
which I happen to like that one better.
That one's funnier because it doesn't sound natural.
Well, it's not.
You can hear the edit.
So
we edited it.
this was a landslide. This was the biggest blowout of the first round.
Yeah.
The winner there very easily, 78% to 22%.
Sports is sports.
Sports is sports.
Sports is sports.
Yeah, football's
As
football.
if you had to think about it.
I did.
Sports is sports.
Well, it might have been something else. I also love here on the Vancouver Ford text line, I yelled vote and vote hard and threw a safety cone at my coworkers regarding our last contract negotiations. God bless you,
Yes.
sir.
You guys are great.
God bless you.
Okay, then we have two more results to tell you about. This, let's see, this is my side of the bracket, my regional. First round matchup, we've got this
This show sucks.
That's an all-timer right there.
against Ted Lasso.
Come on, Rob.
Beavers, how about that?
Oops, sorry, that was a misfire. Yeah, we've got Come On Rob
Come on, Rob.
against
This show sucks.
The best part is we had that up in quotes in our old studio or like in our old prep area. We had the Isaac Ropp in quotes. This show sucks.
What do you think won there? 64% to 36%.
I'm assuming that this show sucks.
No.
No, Lasso got us, huh?
They love Come On Rob.
Well, it is. I mean, that's fun that we get a Ted Lasso Ropp drop in there.
So that advances.
Yeah.
And then the last one to tell you about is in the Souk Regional, where we have, oh man, this might go all the way. We've got
Football's football.
Yeah. I mean,
that or this
Football's football.
or this
Football is football.
Football is football.
or this
Football's football.
or this
Football is football.
or this
football.
or this.
Football's football.
I would like to point out that of all the football, there was one original. There was one man that stated that football was football before anyone else, and that was me. I had the
Football's
courage.
Football.
The best part of football is football. And so you got to do
Football.
Football's football.
Football. And that goes up against, or went up against, this one.
You got swamp ass and nut fog.
I mean, that's not a football. It's football. It's not beating football. No.
And it did not.
No.
Football's football advances by a 57% to 43%.
You're not beating football.
Margin.
It's football.
So moving on to the next round, in my regional, you have Rockin' You on a Friday. Why did I say that?
Yeah.
Which, that could go a ways, dude.
Yeah.
That one could go a
A
ways.
YouTube commenter telling us they remember listening to that one live.
It's a
Rocking
classic.
you on a Friday. Why did I say that?
The instant regret in your voice is it makes the whole drop. It's the
Then
subtleties.
we have this. Oops, different one.
Come on, Rob.
That advances. And then we have the two Souk Classics
Sports is sports. Football's football.
also advancing.
Yeah.
So there you go. So you've got four moving on. You've got four more matchups up there right now for you to vote on X at 1080 The Fan, and then we'll give you the results of those tomorrow, and then we'll put four more up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be out at A. So.
And eventually a winner will be crowned and T-shirts will be printed.
Got a couple good drops yesterday.
Black, please. Thank you. I've choked a cougar.
It happens. You literally just blow the hell out of these hogs.
Oh, dear.
Wow. It's uncomfortable.
What were we even talking
I
about?
don't know.
An animal uprising.
Oh, yeah.
Feral hogs.
Oh, yeah.
Texas.
Yeah,
Helicopters and machine guns.
That's right. You're blowing the hogs. Whoops. But not the butter hogs. That would be inappropriate. No.
So if you want to see the drop bracket, it is up at 1080thefan.com. It's brought to you by George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law. Okay, let's get started with our broadcast. You ready?
Yeah, why not?
Do you want to party today?
Sure.
It's
but it's not a Friday.
it's Wednesday.
So we're not rocking you. We're like,
It's thick. It's meaty.
It's thick. It's meaty.
But we love our
Wednesday show.
our Wednesdays.
We do. We're
We
very
do.
good at Wednesday shows.
yeah.
We're known for our Wednesday broadcasts. So we'll see what we can deliver for you. Our poll question is next, 3:14 on the Fan.
The Fan is
We vote hard or not on this? Yes, please vote hard.
I mean, we always ask you to vote hard. Look,
I
if you,
came hard today. It's a good question.
If you know one thing about this show, it's that you go hard.
You vote with purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, it's where the hard
Yeah.
dudes are.
Yeah. You talk with your helmet, all right? Come on.
So now we have today's real poll question.
Yeah.
And this one, of course, you vote hard.
Yes.
It's on X at 1080 The Fan. It's pinned to the top of our Twitter account. It is brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, family business, helping families for over 60 years. AAAIAQ.com. Now, this also, for the second day in a row, this comes from the show from the prior day, from the previous day. Because yesterday's poll question was, which QB1 is most likely benched for his backup this upcoming season? That was a question I asked on Monday.
Yeah, and it just kind of led to a natural discussion. I think Gino won that, right?
No. Russell Wilson
Russ.
for Justin Fields, 39%.
Yeah.
Then we had Daniel Jones for Drew Lock, 27%. 19% Geno Smith for Sam Howell, and only 15% said Deshaun Watson for Jameis Winston.
No love for Sam Howell. Also, keep in mind, when Sam Howell played the Seahawks, he lit him up. So, just FYI.
Yeah. You guys will come to know and love the great Sam Howell. My jersey's on order. Trust me. Okay, so today's question, this is something you asked yesterday. And it's interesting because you and I, neither of us fill out an NCAA tournament bracket anymore.
No, I haven't done it for a couple years.
And we can also not tell you why. Like, I can't tell you why.
No.
And somebody said to me, "So are you against that now?" I'm like, "No, I'm not against it. Why would I be against it?
I just
don't do it."
I stopped the year of COVID because there was no tournament, and I haven't started since.
I just don't know why. I don't know why. I used to love it. I don't do it anymore. So we're asking.
Well, I don't get the brain man cold, but they're.
So we're asking you that question
There's
today.
a drop for everything.
Have you stopped filling out an NCAA tournament bracket? That is the poll question on X at 1080 The Fan. Vote hard. Yes, college basketball sucks. Yes, not sure why. No, but I'm teetering. Or no, always been rad.
It's weird for me in that I haven't filled one out in a couple years, but I watched the tournament just as much. I was glued. I could not look away from Virginia. Virginia basketball is the new Iowa football, as I'm wearing my punt sweatshirt today in honor of it. And we were watching the Howard Wagner game, or Wagner. Like, I still watch. And tomorrow I'll wake up, I'll put it right in my veins. I love the tournament. I just, for whatever reason, and I still gamble on the tournament. That's the damnedest thing. Last year when we were up in ALNA, I think I placed 12 to 14 bets when we were up there for the 2 days, and yet I didn't fill out a bracket. I don't know what it is. I think for me, honestly, I think legal gambling may have replaced the bracket for me.
I think that's a big deal for a lot of people because I think that before this was the one time a year where everyone gets together and one person collects the money. Now there's a company that collects specifically the things you're interested in betting on, and you can just go do that individually.
Vancouver Ford text line. I stopped filling out a bracket because after the first weekend, I just didn't care, even if I was doing well. Element to that, it's...
Well, you got to add in, too, that office pools, they're not what they used to be because we're not in the office as much.
Not as much.
Right? Like, things have changed.
We have a much bigger office, and we had a much larger one.
It's just... Yeah, where people are working from is different now, and so that's changed a little bit of it.
Well, and
you also have a lot of online brackets.
Yeah, and I used to get a lot of people, either the significant other or my kids or friends that would be like, "Hey, I'm filling out an office pool. Who do you like?" No one has asked me that in years. Like I think that it's the bracket itself. I do think it's dwindling in popularity. I'm not saying the tournament or gambling on it, but I think the idea of the office pool, I do think that has softened up over the years. I don't think we're the only ones.
It's interesting. Very interesting. So vote. That's our poll question brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling. It also, it's like worth sharing that for you young Sparkies out there. We used to have to print the bracket off at work on our big giant printer.
And fill it out.
And you would print multiple ones because you didn't want to have to go back to the printer if you screwed up your first bracket, which you would always screw up your first bracket.
The old analog bracket.
Yeah, and so you'd print off like 30 of them and you just have them laying around, and then you would fill out one, and one would be the official one, and you would take it over to the person running your pool and hand them the piece of paper with $20 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We used to have to do that, kids. It was tough times.
It's way easier to fill one out now, and yet I don't do it. It's very strange. And the other one too, and this, I think is just indicative of the sport itself. Look, college basketball isn't what it used to be. It just isn't. When we talked about it yesterday, when you're talking about who's the biggest stars in the NCAA tournament, they're women. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Buckets. They're bigger names than anyone on the men's side.
Well, because they stay.
They stay. And so I do think that the transfer portal, the one and done, I just think the college game isn't as interesting as it used to be. The tournament's still interesting, and gambling on it's still interesting. But, I mean, there just isn't many guys going in that you look at and you're like, oh, look out for this guy. Or, hey, I saw this guy in the tournament last year. There used to be college stars, and there just isn't anymore. And I think that some of that has just taken the attention off of it a little bit. The game isn't what it used to be.
Did I read right that Oregon State declined an invitation to the NIT?
Sounds like it. That's what I read.
Yep. No one. The NIT may just die. I mean, no offense, but you've got teams like St. John's that are good teams that should be NCAA tournament teams that are turning it down, and I get that. But you've got teams that the Oregon State went to is it the CBI or the CIT that they won? The no one gives a damn. Which one did they hang that banner? They went to that thing and paid to go play in it, and now they're like, no, we're good. Not in the NIT.
So is it that? So I guess pretty much everyone has turned down the NIT. I think
like
it's
it.
wild that they asked the Beavers. The Beavers went 13-19.
Yeah.
I mean, usually the NIT is for like decent teams.
Yes,
but
they're
just
the
going
St.
down
John's and the Seton Halls of the world.
But they're just going down the list.
They just
And
need
so
people.
Oregon State said no. Arizona State said no. Cal said no.
Yeah.
UCLA, USC, and Washington all said no. I wonder if it's just like a money thing. It's like,
well, I think
it's not worth paying the money to play in the tournament because even if you win it, you don't get that money back. And right now, Oregon State's pinching pennies.
Twofold. I think the money has something to do with it, but the other one is recruiting and transfer portal, and you're on to the next one, man. You got to. It's different now. Your biggest objective now is to try to keep your team together, or to go out and find guys that can be difference makers next year. We talked about like in the way the college calendar is set up. Like when you get to the end of college football, it actually punishes you to go on and play deeper into the end of the year because it jobs you over during the transfer portal. And like that's one of the things that Rick Pitino talked about. He's like, hey man, I got things to do. Like we're worried about roster retention, we're worried about the portal, we're worried about going out and finding new things. Like we're not bothering anymore with games that we feel are not significant.
So is the transfer portal for basketball?
Well, I'll take a look.
Is that open now then?
I think it's coming open because that was one of the things that Pitino.
Yeah, I think it'll be open after the tournament probably because you're seeing now a lot of guys are declaring that they will be entering the portal, but I don't think they can yet.
Okay. What a mess.
Yeah, because remember the portal is different and for sport to sport. Let me pull it up and see when it is coming open. Yeah, there's already a ton of guys, by the way, that like as Buck said, that have already announced that they're going to be in the portal,
and some of them pretty good.
Yeah, which means start the tampering process now.
So there's a lot of good jobs open right now. I'm interested. Well, Ohio State filled their gig; they just hired their interim guy. But Michigan's open, Washington's open, Stanford's open, Oklahoma State's open, West Virginia, Vanderbilt. Why are they not rushing to fill the? I mean, like in football, they rush to get a coach because the transfer. Why are they not rushing to fill those gigs?
I don't know.
Why don't you know that?
I don't. I just like I don't know how many people Doc Harris Stadium sits.
You're a sports guy?
Supposedly, but
Well, the question is there a new archetype of head coach more suited for today's NIL portal world, like in football? Because there is in football. Is that true of basketball?
I think so. And
who is that guy?
And I think basketball guy has been there a little bit. I think basketball was ahead of the curve with AAU and some of the shoe money. I think it's a little bit easier, and you don't have to deal with obviously 85 different guys. So one or two makes a bigger difference. But yeah, I think it's the same sort of thing. It's someone that's. It still doesn't change the fact that if your school doesn't have money, you're not playing with the big boys. But I think it's just it's a younger guy that's willing to work, 24/7, 365. that never stops. I don't think that changes. And by the way, it officially opened on Monday.
Oh, so it is open.
And will remain open for 45 days.
So coaches who are in the tournament are having to navigate this right now.
Yes.
Well, that's
great.
And it closes
So
on
dumb.
May 1st. So
Why don't they wait till after the tournament?
Great question.
Well, and this is kind of what the college football coaches were talking about. You have free agency that begins while the college football season is still going on. Same thing here in college basketball. You've got your free agency period right now. So if you're Rick Pitino and you're like, do I want to deal with the NIT right now, which my players don't care about anyways? Meanwhile, I have to figure out what the hell I'm doing with my kids, who's staying, who's going, and then having to go out and try to find other people to either fill in those holes or just add to my talent. And then that's on top of, everything else you're dealing with. And that's why some of these coaches are just saying, no, we're not dealing with the NIT. So it's not just the football calendar that's screwed up. The fact that the transfer portal opened in the basketball calendar window with the NCAA tournament going on, that actually may be worse than the college football one. Because imagine if you're Kansas, right, and you bow out in the first round.
Hey,
well, anyone. I just thought Kansas because I was thinking of a blue blood, right? Duke, Kansas, whatever. Maybe you don't think you're a real national title contender. It actually behooves you if you're not going to make a run to the Final Four. It behooves you to bow out early. It's better for you because at least then you have an idea of who's coming, who's going. And it's like with each exit round, you have a new crop of kids that pop up. It's insane. You got some kid, at McNeese State or whatever, and if they make a deep run, that kid keeps building up his bona fides to go somewhere else. And if he bows out, like now instantly he's like, well, I'm not coming back here. I mean, it's kind of chaos. So I have no problem with the transfer portal. The transfer portal needs to be a thing. NIL needs to be a thing because everyone else leaves for more money. I mean, for God's sakes, the Washington AD left 6 months after being on the job. He bolted for Nebraska. But there has to be some sort of common sense thing where you can't have free agency starting in the middle, or not the middle, but during your championship run. You can't have it.
All right, our poll question on X at 1080 The Fan. Vote hard. Have you stopped filling out an NCAA tournament bracket? Yes, college basketball sucks. Yes, not sure why. No, but I'm teetering. Or no, brackets are rad. So far, the leader in the clubhouse is no, brackets are rad. So that's good, I think.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Washington losing its AD.
Yep.
He's gone. He was on the job for 5 months?
Yeah,
6 months?
5-6 months. And by the way, they don't have a basketball coach either, so.
He is leaving. We'll get to that as part of today's headlines next. Here is Buck.
Now.
All right, the first of today's headlines, which we'll get to, is Troy Dannon talk. Were you prepared for hot Troy Dannon talk today?
I was not. Caught me off guard this morning.
We do have Shohei Ohtani talk coming up in a moment.
That thing is bizarre.
True story.
But Troy Dannon was the AD at Washington.
It's over.
It is over. The Troy Dannon era is over.
All of 5.5 months of it?
Yeah, he came over from Tulane to replace Jen Cohen, who went to USC.
Yeah.
He is now leaving Washington and going to Nebraska to replace Trev Alberts, who went to Texas A&M.
After saying that this was his third job and, university willing, he's not going anywhere.
Well, here's what Pete Thamel writes about this. He is of ESPN fame. He was the first to report this news. He says, I think it's pretty simple. Troy Dannon is of the Midwest. He was AD at Northern Iowa for 8 years, and that's where his family is from. That's where his wife's family is from. And if you grow up in the Midwest in college athletics, Nebraska is a destination. He says, this was an opportunity from what sources have told me that Troy Dannon saw as a way to get home to a destination job. It wasn't a slide on Washington as much as it was a slide on Washington's geography.
Yeah, because most people, when they look at this, say, why on earth would you want to live in Lincoln, Nebraska when you can live in Seattle, Washington?
Well, yeah, but he's right. When you're of the Midwest,
You know,
Lincoln and Nebraska,
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a big deal.
it is a big deal.
Well, and your money certainly goes a lot further, and he's making more money. He gets $1 million bonus. It's a 6-year contract. He makes $600,000 more in Lincoln than he does in Seattle. And again, I'm sure you buy a lot nicer house in Lincoln, making over $1 million than you do in Seattle.
Well, and Seattle's not for everybody. Again, he's a Midwest guy.
Well, and I was listening to Softy a little bit, and again, take this for what it's worth, because Softy is the biggest UW honk of all time, and he's going to spin it. If you don't know, he's a radio host up in Seattle. He's going to spin it, obviously, to benefit UW, but he was saying that he wasn't particularly well received by some at UW, and there was it may not have been the great fit, and there was some, again, kind of that cultural fit that kind of went along there, and when an opportunity came up, he bolted. Oh, and also the search firm that was used for UW to find an associate AD and their AD was the same one that used Nebraska, or same one that Nebraska used to find their AD. And oftentimes these search firms, when they're out there looking at people, it's the same group of people that they're in contact with. So, when you're floating names around for different people, and you're like, hey, we just talked to this guy, and he was interested in a Midwest job. We moved him out to Seattle, but hey, we've got a Midwest job that opened up that pays more money. Are you interested? So they said that happens all the time too with these search firms. It's the same pool of people that they interview each time.
Let me translate the Homer justification line, because that's like straight out of
Central Casting,
straight out of the book.
Yep.
For the Homer to come on and say, well, we didn't really like him anyway.
Yeah.
What that means is we thought he was great, and we are really pissed that we lost him to Nebraska. That's what that means. And we all know that's what that means. Look, Troy Dannon, he was a coveted guy. He did a great job at Tulane, Washington. I think they were really happy to get him. And then, by the way, he hired a football coach when his hands were tied behind his back after Kalen DeBoer left him late in the process, and everybody loves the fact that he hired Jed Fish. He did a great job with that.
Yeah. Well, but people are also, I'd also heard the other side that people are upset that they couldn't get a DeBoer extension done.
Yeah.
Well, but that may not be his fault. It doesn't sound
right.
You're not keeping DeBoer from Alabama.
No.
That's
at $12 million a year. Sorry, it's not happening.
It's just not. Yeah, I'm sure he tried, Dannon, to keep DeBoer, but so I never believe any of the Homer bullshit.
It's like anytime a girl breaks up with you, well,
look,
I didn't want to be with you anyways.
Well,
you were high maintenance.
My first thought about this, and I don't know if this is true or not. It's just there are a lot of signs that it could be. Is that Washington's athletic department's kind of a mess. That was my first thought, and I don't know if that's true. And the reason I say that is because of what happened with Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
Jen Cohen bailed. You hire a guy, he leaves in 5 months, not a great sign, and you don't even have a basketball coach. And I was reading about the men's basketball gig. Mike Hopkins got fired by Dannon, and he did not fill the job before he left.
Yeah.
Some are saying, including in Thamel's piece, he's saying that's not that big of a deal. The next head coach at Washington is likely that Utah State coach, Sprinkle, and he's in the tournament, so they're just going to wait. And then it sounds like maybe Dan and Artie has kind of got a beat on that guy, and so him leaving doesn't necessarily change anything.
Yeah.
Now, if Sprinkle says, no thanks, oh boy.
Yeah.
But maybe you'll have a new AD in place soon. I don't know.
Well, I think,
but I'm just saying. Hold on. I just want to. I don't want to. This is total, just outsider view, right? You just look at what's happened in Washington, particularly because everybody's already now worried that Jed Fish is leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, they are not on solid footing. They are in the red financially. And I was reading an article on the one of the guys up there wrote something on the men's basketball gig talking about how sneaky bad of a job that is. That their arena is nothing special. They do have a new practice facility coming, but he was wondering why they're not putting that money into a new arena. Seattle has a lot of players that come out of Seattle, and they just have not. They haven't done anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been to how many Final Fours? One,
I think.
Back in the 50s.
Yeah.
And it's just not. He said people care up there. They'll go, but they're not just going to go for anything.
Yeah.
So you got to pay. You got to put money into it. His big overriding premise was basketball program just reeks of a situation where football took all the resources, and we're just sitting here holding our what.
And now there's the question of is the football program, is it really an elite program, or is it more of a mid-tier stepping stone?
Exactly. And now you're going in with money problems. Now you're going into the Big Ten, a much difficult league. It's just, I don't know. There's a lot of signs pointing to Washington just maybe not being what we thought it was.
Well, I'm trying to remember who it was. It might have been Mario Bailey. There was an ex-player. God, I watched it just the other day. It came across my timeline, and it was popping up today. There was an ex-player that was asking the question, hey, I know no one wants to deal with this, but when people keep leaving, you can't just sit there and ignore it and have this idea of we're great, we're on Montlake, greatest setting in college football, everything's great, we love the Huskies. So that's like an ignorant opinion. When things keep happening and people keep leaving, you have to start asking the tough questions of why. And if you're not asking that question, and I don't know what's happening inside that athletic department, I have some people that are close to it, so I do hear some things. But if you're not asking, if you're not doing an internal audit right now and asking, why is this happening, then you're kind of fooling yourself. And one of the things like under DeBoer and in the past regimes was they didn't want to pay high school kids an NIL. Their idea was, if you come here and you succeed, we'll pay you. But we're not doing the pay for play thing. And quite frankly, that is a silly way to go about doing things.
Are they still doing that?
I don't think so.
Jed Fish ain't going to let them do that.
Jed Fish isn't doing that. If you want to land the kids, you got to pay to play. This is just the nature of the beast. But, see, you do hear some things. I know for a while the NIL wasn't the most robust, but they feel like Montlake Futures did have it rolling a little bit, and they were going to get competitive. And they were throwing their hat into the ring with bigger athletes, and were able to keep some of their own. That transition, with DeBoer coming in, the Dunzeys of the world, and they kept those guys. They kept a lot of their players. And so they felt like they were going to be competitive, and this stings. But this is also true of 90% of the programs out there. I know Oregon fan right now is probably loving this, but Oregon went through this multiple times with their head coaches.
Yep.
Now granted, they've managed to keep Rod Mullins there for a bunch of years, which is nice. But they went through this with a couple football coaches, and then they had the fear that, oh my God, is it happening again with Dan Lanning? And luckily they were able to keep Lanning, but there's not a lot of programs that are immune from this sort of thing when it comes to losing coaches and ADs. And Washington, by the way, clearly is not one of those schools that is immune to it.
Yeah, it just seems to me that at Washington, again, total speculation, outsider view on my part, that it's just really hard to get what you need to compete now that in the new changing landscape up there. And at Oregon, it's not. Like it used to be in the old system, the old college athletic system. Oregon and Washington. Washington was superior to Oregon.
Yes.
But Oregon used its Phil Knight connection and its Nike connection to close that gap. Well, I feel like Oregon has passed Washington. And the reason they've passed them is not just play on the field, even though Washington has beaten them 3 straight times.
Yes.
It's that Oregon is doing what it takes in the new financial landscape of college athletics to win. And it really is kind of win at all costs. Yeah. And that's what Oregon is doing. Yeah. It seems to me that Washington is not doing that. And that's why they're losing. They've lost 2 ADs and a head football coach all in the span of 6 months. Yeah. I don't know if that ever changes. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the higher ups, prestigious academic institution.
It's possible sometimes when you get academic high standards, that can butt heads with the whole football thing. But to be fair, Washington was willing to pay DeBoer what, like $9+ million?
Yeah.
And so and they stepped up with their NIL and were ready to go there. So at least there is an appearance on the football side of thing, and they built a new stadium. So it does appear, at least from that standpoint, maybe not in basketball, but at least in football, they're trying. But sometimes trying isn't, it's not good enough.
Well, none of that came quickly.
No.
And I think maybe that's what it is. Not that you can't get it, it's just harder to get it.
Florida State had that. This is like with Jimbo when he left. He said the same thing. He goes, I'm tired of fighting at Florida State, and I'm going to go to a place that gives me whatever the hell I want at the snap of my fingers.
And these football coaches are going to go places where they get what they need to compete.
Well,
there's just a new set of criteria to give that your coach needs, a laundry list of things that he needs to win. And it's less about coaching acumen, and it's more about money and NIL and committing to win at all costs. And I don't know. Washington's just a little slow on the uptake there, and they've lost another AD because of it.
Just look out, because Florida's going to fire their guy next year, and if Fish starts the year like 6-7-0, just buckle up.
And then Softy will come on and say we didn't like Jed Fish anyway. It's just, I don't know.
I don't wish
it
that.
It doesn't seem good.
I don't wish that on anyone.
Does it seem good up there to you? It doesn't seem good up there to me.
I don't think it's terrible, but no, I don't think, if you're a Washington fan right now, I do not think that you are sleeping the sleep of angels.
Is he good at Nebraska?
It's good enough to get this cat.
All right. Up next, Shohei Ohtani is in the news today. It is 3:50 on the Fan.
The home of
We'll get to some hot, very hot bracket talk. Robbie Brackets is back. Coming up.
The other thing real quick on the UW that I always think about is in the world of college sports, I think it behooves you to be in a small town. When you're in a place like LA or New York or Seattle, I just think there's a lot going on. And even though there's a ton of money up there in Seattle, how much of it is predicated on Husky sports? You got the Mariners, you got the Seahawks, you got the Kraken now. It's a lot to do. It's the same thing in LA, like UCLA. When you look at the big time college programs, how many of them are in major metropolitan areas? It's not many.
Well, I think about Miami that way. Miami University.
Yes,
yeah.
there's
USC.
just and that's a small school too, by the way. That doesn't have like a big.
Yeah, they're private.
They're private, but they're just. I think it behooves you to be in a place where everything, the entire pride of that area in town rests upon the shoulders of the athletic program. And if we're going with just football, who are the best programs in the country? Alabama, right? Georgia.
Until recently,
Clemson, Ohio State. Where else you want to go?
Yeah, Columbus is probably the biggest of those places.
Yes,
that's
and Columbus isn't necessarily it's certainly not Seattle. It's not a top 10, but
yeah,
at
but
least
it's all Ohio State.
Yes, that is all
sure.
Ohio State. There's nothing there. It's enormous, but I just think it helps even in a place like Eugene. And I know Eugene is unique because they've got Phil. And look, make no mistake about it. Without Phil, Oregon isn't a thing. They're just not. But when you're in a place like Eugene, that can carry that carries the weight of that entire area. And then when I said that, like your identity is based around that, Phil's entire company puts the resources into that. I mean, that's branded like no other. That's a very unique situation. But again, it's a small place that has arguably the most successful sports apparel company of all time has its backing and dumps it all in. And I just think when you're in LA, and I think when you're in Seattle and in places like that, I think it's a little harder to get an entire community that rallies around you. And we've talked about this even with high school sports. A lot of the high school dominant programs don't necessarily come from the major metropolitan areas. Now it comes from money, but it's little kind of smaller pockets, of wealthy little suburbs.
Here are the largest U.S. metros.
Yeah.
And the colleges, top 10. You have New York, obviously, number 1. NYU, Columbia, Fordham.
Yeah.
LA, USC, UCLA, obviously. Loyola Marymount. Chicago.
Northwestern.
University of Illinois at Chicago, and University of Chicago. Boston has Harvard, MIT, Tufts, Boston U, and Boston College. Philly has Penn, Drexel, Temple, and Villanova. Miami, University of Miami, Florida International, and Florida Atlantic. Then you go to Dallas, which has SMU, University of Texas at Dallas, and University of Texas at Arlington. You have D.C., which has Georgetown, George Washington, George Mason, Howard, and American.
I'll even give you Virginia in that if you want to do that, and that's nothing.
And then you have San Francisco, Cal, Berkeley, University of Cal, San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then Houston, which is Rice and University of Houston.
So in that entire one, we have one that we would say is an elite athletic program, and that's USC. One.
And even they struggle.
Yes.
To your point. Like it's not easy for them.
No, it is not. It is not just a roll out the ball and everything is hunky
Yeah,
dory.
they used to be elite. I'm not even sure they are elite right now.
Yeah, because you hear all the time from people at USC that say we just compete against other things. Like if you're a star collegiate athlete here, okay, you're competing against the Los Angeles Lakers and you're competing against the Chargers and the Rams and Hollywood and all that. Pete Carroll had it rolling there for a while, and those guys were a big freaking deal.
Yeah, it was the cool thing then and there, but it's not right now.
It is not. Absolutely, it is not. And you're seeing where more and more kids from California, they leave. They don't go there. A lot of them come up to Oregon, and someone pointed out too that in both basketball and football, Washington has a really hard time keeping their kids in Seattle. And you know who doesn't have a hard time with that? Georgia and Alabama and LSU. When you look at their teams, if you're from that state, chances are you're going to that university. And it hasn't been the case here in Washington.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, Shohei Ohtani, big news today. And the baseball season has begun. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
We had a regular season game
I'm starting
last night.
the Ohtani rumor, by the way.
The rumor.
This story stinks.
Huge hog.
Well, clearly. Well, we saw videos of his wife for the first time, but
He's gonna go get him one of those Milwaukee butter hogs.
something's up here. It smells a little funky.
Mamiko Tanaka.
It smells a little weird.
That's his wife's name.
I think that Otani likes to lay a little cheddar on some games.
All right, we'll get to that coming up next on The Fan.
I'm Erin Hawksworth, here to help you
to that lake.
Hey, tomorrow's show, we're going to be up at A. We'll be at the Stadium Sports Bar there, right by the sports book.
Is that
Not
what
at
is
the
that
lake,
he was saying? I'm going to go to A.
I'm gonna go to that lake.
I think that's what he's saying. I'm going to go to A.
I'm gonna go to that lake.
I'm going to go to A.
I'm gonna go to that lake.
I'm going to go to A.
I'm gonna go to that lake.
I'm going to go to A. Well, we are going to go to A.
Yes.
Suk and I will be up there. And
Possibly just a scooch late, by the way.
Yeah, the Ducks game's on the air, huh?
Yeah, Duck game. So, I mean.
1 o'clock?
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock. So, hopefully it starts on time. And depending on, we're going to be on close to 3. But, if you tune us in at 3 and we're not there, we're coming. We're coming for
It
you.
means you guys have maybe a beverage in hand and a betting slip in hand, and you're watching up at A.
Yes, but we will be at A by 3.
Yes.
That much
Yep.
I can guarantee.
Yeah, we got to get some bets in, dude.
Absolutely.
Danny and Dusty will be up there with their half-hour broadcast.
Are they just going to hang out afterwards?
I don't know. Maybe we should have them on. We should have them on our show to do our show.
Yeah, there you go. Well, what else? They're working a half hour. Come on.
They have hot opinions to disseminate.
Well, got to talk about the big Blazer Clipper tilt tonight. I don't know who's playing for the Blazers. Literally everyone is out or questionable.
You know what today is? You will notice this in the Hot 5 at 5.
Yeah.
Today is the official day that the Blazers don't even make the Hot 5 at 5 anymore.
It's over.
Unless there's an injury or something.
Well, they're all injured. I think that's the thing.
Well, I just mean unless there's like a big story.
Yes.
I used to put them in there when they play. Say, hey, the Blazers are playing tonight. And it doesn't matter anymore. And they're officially out.
Rob quits.
They've been bumped.
More importantly, at this point, we're cashing that under.
I was going to say, are we? I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's going to happen at this point, but are we officially in the black there? Like, is that?
Well,
nothing's
it's
done
never
yet, right?
official until it's official. But you guys are good on that.
Because they only need 10 more wins to break our bet. And there's more than 10 games left, but
Right. Okay. Yeah. Technically, they haven't cashed yet, but they will.
You guys are sitting pretty.
We're
there.
safe as kittens at
Yep.
this point. Let's just say that I'm already planning some sort of celebratory purchase with my with my winnings.
So we will be at A tomorrow. That is up in Ridgefield. They've got a hotel now.
Yes.
So you guys could maybe get a hotel room and get really housed.
There you go.
And
yeah, if you go sideways, there you go.
There you go.
Got you taken
And
care
there's
of.
a pool an indoor pool. Did you know that?
I didn't know there was an indoor pool.
Yeah, I've been up there. My wife and I went and looked at it. It's nice. It's got a bar at the pool.
Tasty. Swim up?
No, not swim up. But it's got a bar up there.
I'm a sucker for a good swim
I'll
up
tell you
pool.
what.
Although the swim up pool, I just assume that you're peeing on me, like at all times. Because when you're at the swim up bar, everyone's drinking and you don't see people getting out of the pool. And I just know that someone's just blowing out a kneecap while I'm ordering my Mai Tai. And, I just
who cares?
I keep drinking and power past that, but still.
I will say everything that they've done at A, if you haven't been up there yet, it's really nice.
Yeah, they do.
It's really
They
nice.
have done a really, really nice
They
job.
have some good restaurants in there. The sports book's great. The Stadium Sports Bar is like the best place to watch the tournament. That's where we'll be set up. And then over on the hotel side, I think there's another restaurant over there and a pool and everything. It's just really nice what they've done. So join us there. We'll be there tomorrow for our show and Friday for live shows, courtesy of George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law. Okay, Shohei Ohtani has made today's headline.
Yes, not in a good way either. Although he did have a couple RBIs, right?
A couple good ways he has made the headlines.
Yeah, because the baseball season has officially started, which I find very weird.
Well, it doesn't seem ideal. I don't know how MLB could do it.
They're idiots.
It doesn't. But at the same time, I get what you're saying. But at the same time, like, what do you want them to do? So what they're trying to do is they're trying to play early season games in other countries.
Yes.
This year they have gone to Seoul, South Korea, and if you didn't know, the Dodgers and Padres played a regular season game, the first game of the season.
Yeah.
This morning, because with the time change, it's what. It was like 3 a.m.
Yes, I think, and
they play 3 in the morning here, 6 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
is where,
they play again tonight or
tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, 3 a.m. Yeah,
and so that's why I think Buck's saying they're Major League Baseball stupid.
I mean,
but I don't know what you want them to.
Well, I don't. If this is the kickoff to your or opening pitch to your season, like everyone should be able to watch it. It's dumb that it's in like people are getting ready for work on a Wednesday. Like that's just.
It does seem a little weird. I don't know what the answer to that would be.
Because it's not that the games aren't good. It's not that you don't want to see Ohtani and the Dodgers like out of the gate, but you're not because it's not at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's at 6 in the morning or 3 in the morning here.
You know what the other weird thing is they will come home. They'll play again, like you said, tomorrow. I think there's only 2 games over there, right?
I don't know if it's 2 or 3.
Anyone?
2 or 3.
I think it's 2.
All right. I will look it up for you.
But they come back and they will play a final weekend of spring training.
Yeah, more exhibition games.
Yep.
Which also seems dumb.
And I'm sure they did that because the teams that went to Japan a couple years ago probably, I think the Mariners are one of them, weren't they? Didn't the Mariners and A's go over there?
The Mariners and A's have done that, yeah.
And you're right. It's 2 games.
2 games, yeah.
2 games, then they fly
and then they
home.
come back for spring training. But I would imagine the teams that went to Japan are like, hey, you're putting us behind the 8 ball with all that travel right before we come back and open the season. So maybe they're giving them that final weekend.
You're right, because they play next Tuesday. The Dodgers do in exhibition against the Angels.
Yeah. And then the opening day is a week from tomorrow.
Yes.
So I get why they sent him over there early. They're giving him time to get back home, recalibrate, and get ready for the season.
So, I mean, I honestly, you just chalk this up to, and I said this even when they were playing those games in Japan, it's not opening day.
No.
It's not.
It's
and I don't care
for
about
Korea.
it. But exactly. It's to grow the game, and it's a big deal over there in the Far East. And so my daughter is over there. I texted her about it, and it's a huge freaking deal over there. It was a huge deal over in Japan.
And I'm not against any of that. I just think it's weird that this is the beginning of our season right now.
Yeah, but there's just,
But it's not
when
really.
there's a 19-hour time
it is on the
difference,
standings. It
there's
is in the box
nothing you can
scores.
do. It's not.
We all know that opening day is all we care
It's
about.
weird. Why not do this like right before or after the All-Star break? Like you could use that time. I mean, why does it have to be right now?
Because again, then you're telling teams right before the All-Star game that you're getting on a plane and flying and doing 19 hours time difference. It's just
I said, I just don't think there's an easy way to do this, and I do understand and feel like there is an importance to going over to other countries and playing these games, particularly in Asia. Baseball's huge.
What time
over
is
there.
first pitch local on that? Can they move that
Yeah,
at all?
now
Can it
that-
be middle of the day here, and like later at night there? I don't know the difference, and it may be tough, but
That is something that I think is worth looking into, but I'm sure they have their reasons for why they played it at 3 a.m. Pacific time.
I mean,
Well,
you want a good local atmosphere.
By the way,
for
it is
sure.
in Korea right now. It is 8:15 in the morning tomorrow. So, Buck, your answer no. Having to communicate with my daughter over there, there's no real good time.
Well, could they play if you have an 11:15 game over there?
Yeah,
that's 7:15 p.m. here. I mean, that's not horrible,
Yeah, that would work.
right?
A
I mean,
day
it's
game,
11
a day game there is a night
Yeah.
game here. Yeah,
Yeah. So, hey man,
seems like you just figured it out.
I'm no Rob Manfred. Anyway, the Dodgers won. They beat the Padres 5-2. A weird game. A ball went right through the glove of
their first baseman.
what's that guy's name? Cronenworth. Jake Cronenworth.
Yeah,
It went right through the webbing of his glove.
it didn't break the glove. It just went
right through it.
You ever seen that? Because I've seen gloves break where it blows out the webbing, but this just
It just went right through his
went
glove.
right through. By the way, might want to get a new glove. Tighten that up a little bit.
Yeah, so the Dodgers in that inning, the Dodgers scored 4. That was in the 8th, and
Yeah.
they won 5-2.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani's lady was on hand. She is a woman by the name of Mamiko Tanaka, and he just announced, remember, that they're married.
Yeah.
And she, I guess she's a big deal over there, and was a basketball player on the Japanese national team.
Yeah, she's out there getting buckets.
She's a hot.
Yeah.
And she was out there with her Shohei jersey and her friends high-fiving and everything. It was a cool scene over there. And like you said, it sounds like it was a big deal
It
for
was
everybody.
a big deal, yes.
But now comes the wait!
Yeah, by the way, a couple hits and an RBI.
Yeah, he did. Oh, Shohei did. There was a feat before we get to the real Shohei headline. There was a rare feat that was tied in that game. Did you see that?
No.
Baseball cheerleaders?
What happened?
There were baseball cheerleaders, and they were hot too.
No, I didn't see this. What do we? Oh, but yeah. Anytime, by the way, you get a chance to go watch baseball in the Far East, it's way better than American baseball. It is. It's freaking awesome. Hot cheerleaders everywhere. Everyone's singing songs. Imagine like the most raucous like European soccer game, but you throw that into a baseball stadium. It's so much better. Not even close.
So the feat I'm talking about is Xander Bogaerts, who plays for the Padres.
Yeah.
He got a hit today, and that ties the record for hits in most countries or territories.
Really?
Yes, he has. So he got a hit in Korea.
He's probably done it in Canada.
He's done it in Canada, the U.S., Mexico, and England. So that is 5. He joins 2 other baseball players all time who have 5 hits in 5 different countries or territories.
I'll be damned.
Edgardo Alfonso did it in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, Japan, and Puerto Rico. And then Paul Goldschmidt has done it in the U.S., Australia, Mexico, England, and Canada.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool. And if the Padres go over to Japan next year,
he can break it.
He can break it.
But
if he's still on the
do,
team,
do we
and
know if the Padres are going over to Japan?
And he gets a hit. No, we don't.
Just send Xander Bogaerts' team. That's what Manfred can do. Just pick that team and they go.
And wherever he goes.
So kind of a thing there with Xander. I thought that was kind of cool. Okay, now next we get to the real headline of the day.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Shohei.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the first pitch.
Oh, was it the South Korean actress?
Yeah, they had the hot South Korean actress.
Well, that wasn't
with some knee highs and.
That wasn't at the game. That was at spring training.
What?
Yeah, I saw the video of that. Well, she might have done it again.
No, yeah, she was.
But there was a video of the Dodgers dugout oogling her.
Yeah, yeah.
That was last week.
Oh, I thought that was today because that video.
Again, she may have done it again today,
okay.
but I saw that video last week of the Dodgers dugout.
Okay.
Doing the whistle.
Because I just saw that going around today, so I assumed that it was
No.
Yes, and the
the
Dodgers dugout could care less about what's going on. They're focusing all their attention on the hot Korean gal in the tightest pants you've ever seen throwing out the first pitch.
So the real headline is that Shohei Ohtani's interpreter has stolen all of his money.
Or did he?
That's next on The Fan.
The best basketball party The Fan.
All right, here's the juicy Shohei news of the day. Is that he has fired his interpreter, longtime interpreter and friend.
Yeah.
Because they are saying that the interpreter / friend stole money from Shohei to pay off gambling debts of $4.5 million.
Yeah, which, by the way, we see this a bunch, right? I mean, it's often a trusted advisor or a friend that ends up stealing millions from people. The interesting part was the money was transferred from his bank account, Shohei's, to a gambling site, which and now that transfer is under federal investigation. And originally, unless I'm reading this story wrong, originally it was stated that a spokesman for Ohtani said that money was transferred to cover gambling debts for the interpreter, which is like, oh my God, first off, how the hell is the interpreter running up $4.5 million worth of debt? And I don't know if there was a language mishap or what, but that was what was originally stated. And then they were like, no. He stole the money and transferred it over, and now we've turned it over to the police and we're investigating it. And that may just be a simple, oopsie. But I also think it's fairly interesting that an interpreter had access to his bank account to the tune of $4.5 million, and that the original statement was that was transferred over to cover gambling debts. There's enough there that it at least makes me kind of put up a finger and say I've got questions.
Yeah, it's a little fishy for
right?
sure.
Just a little bit.
So, yeah. So okay. So let's read through this. So this guy Mizuhara.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce his first name.
I don't either.
It's spelled Ippei.
I think it's Ippei.
Ippei Mizuhara. He's a longtime friend and interpreter for Ohtani. He incurred the gambling debts to a Southern California bookmaking operation that is under federal investigation. That's how it all came to light.
Yes.
So, how the interpreter came to lose his job started with reporters asking questions about the wire transfers. Initially, Ohtani's spokesperson told ESPN that Ohtani had transferred the funds over to cover the gambling debts, like you said.
Yeah.
The spokesman presented Mizuhara to ESPN for an interview Tuesday night, during which he laid out his account in great detail. However, as ESPN prepared to publish that story, the spokesman disavowed the interpreter's account and said that Ohtani's lawyers would issue a statement. And his lawyers did issue a statement, and it said, in the course of responding to recent media inquiries, we discovered that Shohei Ohtani has been the victim of a massive theft, and we are turning the matter over to the authorities. The spokesman declined to answer any further questions, and the statement did not specify whom they believe perpetrated the alleged theft. When asked by ESPN today, after the lawyer statement, if he had been accused of theft, Mizuhara said he was told he could not comment, but declined to say by whom. So this came all about as federal investigators are examining operations run by Southern California bookmaker Matthew Boyer.
Yeah.
The wire transfer payments were sent from Ohtani's account to an associate of Boyer's. Boyer says he saw Shohei Ohtani's name on the transfers, but never said anything because, one, he was getting his money, and two, he liked to let others believe that Shohei was one of his clients.
Yes.
So this guy was he's a bookmaker, but he's...
And ESPN did review it, and they said that they saw two separate transfers of $500,000 that had, from September and October, that had Ohtani's name on it.
So whoever is gambling, Ohtani or the interpreter, why are they not doing it legally through legal channels? And then everything would be fine.
Well,
here.
Remember too, it's legal in 40 states. It's not legal in California.
That's what I'm saying. Why are they not doing this legally? That is so dumb.
Just sign up for an offshore book and put all your money in and go. Yeah.
It's just not that hard. It's legal almost everywhere. Yes, it's not in California, and that's what got him in trouble because this bookmaker is under federal investigation.
Yeah, and I just
good grief.
I don't know. This smells odd to me.
It
this
does.
smells really, really odd. You're telling me that his interpreter and his friend, he has access to Ohtani's bank accounts?
Also, the series of events and the communications is really jarring too. Like that the interpreter was going to talk to ESPN, but then they found out what his account was going to be. When they reached back out to him, he's not going to say anything anymore. And I guess that could just be like hey, we want to make sure we control the narrative of this thing, but it could also be a cover your ass kind of a thing.
Well, and now that they're, the interpreter is saying, I want everyone to know Shohei had zero involvement in betting. I want people to know that that he did not know that it was illegal. I learned my lesson the hard way. I will never do sports betting again. This very much, and wildly speculating, but this is what we do on the program. I love speculating. This certainly feels like a fall guy to me. This certainly feels like OS.
Wait a minute.
Our meal ticket. By the way, who just signed? What was it? What was his deal? $600 million, whatever it was. What did he just pocket?
$800 million.
Was it $800 million? Whatever it was.
Shohei's deal?
It was over half a bill. I know that.
Oh yeah.
And we just got caught.
$700 million.
$700 million.
Only 700.
Only 700. We just got caught. Our $700 million man got caught. We don't know what he was betting on, but it's illegal in California. God forbid he was betting on anything related to baseball. And we're going to need someone to take the fall.
And
right here.
All these new accounts of how close he's become with his interpreter and how they're like the best of friends. And wouldn't a best friend be the one to take the fall for you if you were going to fall from grace?
I'll tell you what. If I was friends with Shohei Ohtani, and I would certainly take the fall. What is that? A year in prison? 8 months, 6 months in some federal
He's
whatever.
Gonna take care of you.
You know what? You go ahead. You throw my ass in there, and I know that I'm going to be taken care of on the backside. We'll go ahead and do that.
Or if this guy winds up dead, we
Oh,
know how powerful Shohei is.
100%. This is some gentleman type stuff, right?
Now,
the Putin if he falls down an elevator shaft.
The thing that doesn't add up, is where who signed off on the money, because they're saying it was a theft, which means Mizuhara, they're implying that he did it without Shohei knowing.
Yes.
But Shohei's name was on the transfers. So that goes back to it being more believable that Shohei actually sent the money over to cover his debts for him.
Unless what they're saying is Mizuhara hacked his account and did the sending from his account, which seems like a stretch.
I don't know.
I know. I don't think it seems plausible.
Hold on. So the Boyer guy, the bookmaker, has said, because the ESPN looked into this, he told ESPN that he dealt directly with Mizuhara.
Yes.
He said that he would place bets on international soccer matches and other sports. He never bet on baseball, and
Or so they say.
that was starting in 2021.
Yeah.
Boyer was aware of the name on the wire transfers, but chose not to ask any questions as long as payments came in. And his attorney said he's never met or spoke with Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
So,
and they're claiming that once Ohtani, and again, this is all very convenient, but they're saying that once Ohtani became aware, remember this is the Boyer and Mizrahi, the gambling guy and the interpreter. Their story is once Ohtani became aware of the sizable debt, Ohtani logged onto his computer and sent the payments. But now you're hearing from Ohtani saying it's theft.
by the way, how cool is that if he did that?
Yeah.
What a
dude,
stud.
That's an absolute solid. Although that's a bit of a I'm friends. I don't know about you. I've got 3 or 4 people that I consider family. Like people that I would take a bullet for. At the same time, that's a big oopsie if I go to my buddy and be like, yeah, tell you what.
Well, because if this is stolen, then you've burned his trust. That's more than just like I screwed up.
We got a little bit of a problem here. You know, when you gave me access to your credit card and said that I could, take my gal out to the Sizzler for some surf and turf. Yeah, I ran up about $4.5 million in debt, and he's just like, you know what? That's all right, buddy. I got you. Like, this just seems very suspicious. This just seems more than likely, in my opinion, that Ohtani's got a bit of a gambling problem. $4.5 million is not a big deal to him, but once it became under federal indictment, we're like, hey, we're gonna need you to crawl underneath this bus right now, and then I'm gonna run you over. And by the way, then I'm gonna back over you and say that you stole the money from me. Meanwhile, the guy's like, hey, whatever, like, do what you got to do.
Look, the only way all of this adds up is that theory.
It's it.
That's the only way it all adds up, and that is that Shohei paid the money because he knew it was for him, and the guy, his interpreter, made the bets.
And then once it was going to come out, they said, well, this wasn't really Shohei's money. It was the buddy's money.
Yeah.
And so Shohei paid it, therefore it's stolen.
The reporter asked the interpreter, why didn't Ohtani just give you the money to pay back? Why did he pay the guy himself? And his response was, he didn't want me to gamble the money away. And you're like, really? And then the interpreter said that he promised he would pay him back. How the hell is the interpreter going to pay back $4.5 million? Like, the story doesn't make sense. This is what I always say. If you're going to lie and cover something up, at least get your S together and come up with something that's plausible. Really? You were going to pay him back? I don't know, man. The whole thing is
All right.
it's a little wonky.
We'll keep you posted on that. In the news is coming up next. Do not throw a sandwich at this man's car. Here's Buck.
Now,
All right. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, we're not. It is indeed March 20th.
It's March 20, 2024. It's time for In the News. I'm your newsman. Hello. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please be seated
Oh, yeah.
as I present you the news for today. It is Atheist Pride
Oh,
Day.
there you go. You godless heathen.
I'm very proud of my atheism.
You have to think about it there for a second.
Proud of not believing anything.
That's right.
It's funny how people get bent out of shape over that.
Yeah, what do you care?
Exactly. We all think you're going to hell anyway, so, you know.
Go cry to your God.
Gods, thank you.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm embracing everything now. What is the, I'm putting my arms around everything. I figure if I cover all my bases, I'm really sticking to more of a pagan sort of thing, but, you know.
I say this every year on this day.
Yeah.
We are all atheists regarding 99% of gods that humanity has faith in. Some of us just go one god further.
Yeah. See,
and that would be me.
I'd like to go the other way and just say that, like, I'm going back to my my Viking roots because it seems way like funner to believe in like lots of gods. Like, why do I want to burden one with all my troubles when I can break it up and I can get like 7 or 8 going all at once? Just seems like a better way to go, and I cover all my bases. You know.
Yeah, and it's not a concept that's like foreign to Western religion either. Like you have, the saint of this and the saint of that in like Catholicism. So it's like you can go to different gods for different reasons, no problem.
Exactly. You know, I'm going to the Allfather, and then when that doesn't work, I can hook on over here, and I can go to, I can go to Jewish Jesus. I got Mormon Jesus. I can go to like Allah. I got lots of different things.
It is also National Ravioli Day.
You know, ravioli is fine. I just I don't get it like ever. But when I do, I like it.
Well, it just depends on what's in it.
Well, that's true.
I mean,
but like a good spinach ravioli is delightful. And
yeah.
I like when the ravioli's got like a crisp to it, you know? Maybe like a little pan seared.
How about a little butternut squash ravioli?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. And then we got the great like meat ravioli. Like I'm pro ravioli.
Ravioli's great.
I just never I eat ravioli once every like 3 years.
Shout out to Mr. Ravioli.
Chef Boyardee ravioli.
Don't throw a sandwich at this man's car.
I don't think you should throw a sandwich at anyone's car. Seems rude.
Portland police say they have finally arrested the man accused of shooting and killing a man for throwing a sandwich at his car.
Oh gosh.
In 2022.
Someone died over that?
Yes. He also shot and injured a witness to the killing. And he did that a year and a half later. His name is Jacob A. Fitzgerald. Boy, he looks like a peach. He is 23. He was apprehended Monday with the help of U.S. the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force.
Thurgood Marshall is solving crimes now? What is happening?
Police say Fitzgerald shot and killed 53-year-old Otis Abner in August of 2022. Then in February of 2024, he's accused of shooting and wounding the witness to the killing. My God.
So he went and sought out the guy that witnessed it and capped him?
Correct.
Well, I mean, I guess he's known for his thorough work. I mean...
So, according to a court document filed in Multnomah County, Fitzgerald was driving a car with Abner and another person as passengers. Fitzgerald and Abner got into an argument, and Fitzgerald stopped the car. Abner got out of the car, and as Fitzgerald was driving away, threw a sandwich at the car. Fitzgerald stops, gets out, and fired a 9mm handgun at Abner at least 7 times.
Boy.
Striking him once in the heart.
Good Lord.
Wow.
Let me just, again, that is horrific.
Wowzers.
But, again, for everyone out there, this is a blanket statement. Don't get out of your car. Just don't. Nothing good comes of you getting out of your car.
Yeah, but he threw a sandwich. I mean, come on, Jason.
Yeah, man.
Can't be throwing sandwiches.
Well, I know, but what's the worst? Like, you rub a little mayo off your car and and that's the end of it. But someone died over a sandwich. And by the way...
And he didn't even get to finish it.
Yeah, never throw a sandwich. I find sandwiches to be quite valuable. A sandwich isn't something you just throw away.
Do you think that if you study avalanches, it's possible that you could also die in one?
Oh, yeah.
It's like being a storm chaser and getting killed by a tornado,
I would
for sure.
make the argument that those who study avalanches are more likely to die in them.
Absolutely.
The chances of me dying in an avalanche, I'm not putting myself in avalanche zones, but if you're studying them, I think just proximity, chances are one is going to get you eventually.
Well, an avalanche forecaster was killed after an accident on an eastern Oregon mountain near Anthony Lakes Resort. Just after 4:30 p.m., Baker County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to a report of 2 skiers buried in an avalanche on the north side of Gunsight Mountain. Deputies, along with the search and rescue and fire department from nearby counties, arrived to find bystanders performing CPR on 37-year-old Nick Burks. The other skier involved, 37-year-old William Sloop, was not injured.
Ooh. So one of them wasn't injured at all, and the other one was dead?
Burks died.
Well,
Early
that's
investigations determined that both were experienced backcountry skiers and had necessary equipment on them in the event of an emergency. However, while skiing down a chute, Bucks triggered the avalanche, which buried him. And the irony here is that Burks, was an avalanche forecaster with the Wallowa Avalanche Center in northeastern Oregon.
Interesting.
And he had also worked as part of the snow safety team at Mount Hood Meadows ski area.
By the way, I think that Baker County, I think that's where I went out for the crab feed.
Yeah, it's way out there.
Yeah, I think that's like
the Wallowas are way out there.
Yeah, I think that's. I think we were in Baker County.
Well,
that's where Dallas Bucks snowmobiles. Big fan of it out there. That sucks.
I can't think of many things worse than death by avalanche.
No,
that's a bad one.
I see videos of like the people that what do they call those? Like when you're skiing and you fall in the tree, like
tree well.
The tree well. That's
terrifying.
That
too.
like, buried by snow and suffocating.
Not
It's high on my like. When I was a kid, I always say that I thought quicksand was going to be a big problem in my life, and it's not. But the snow, I never considered, and that's way more of a danger. And yet, it's the same sort of thing.
I did that once. I fell into a
really?
tree well,
Oh.
but I was with my dad and my brother, and even being with them, I was like up to my chin, and I was terrified.
You were head out of the snow.
I was. Yeah, my head was above the snow, but like the way that I fell, my body was kind of turned like almost at like a 45-degree upside down angle, and it was dicey there for a second.
I saw a video, and I don't know where this was. I don't know when it was. It was it wasn't like years and years ago. They were both looked like modern times, but it was a dude backcountry skiing. He had a GoPro on.
Oh, I saw this video.
He's skiing, and he basically falls into a tree well, like he crashes, and he's like, oh, he crashes on top of someone that was upside down in the tree well.
And had been in there for a couple minutes, and then just starts digging him out on the video.
Yeah, he just stumbles and falls, and he's like, oh, that was a close one. And then he looks down and is like, wait a minute. And he sees something sticking out and starts digging, and it's a dude that had gone headfirst in the tree well.
Minutes before.
Guy would have died. And he just happened to stumble, like, oh my God.
The video's amazing.
Yeah, freaking incredible.
Maybe that means there is a god.
Or gods. Is there a god of skiing? This is what I'm saying. Like, let's not put this on one. Maybe there's a patron saint god of tree wells.
And that was, you know what? I think that happened at Mount Baker.
Was that Mount Baker?
I'm pretty sure.
The video is insane. Either way, don't get caught in avalanches or tree wells. It sucks.
Let's clean up these damn streets. That's next.
That's what I'm here for.
On the Fan.
This is the Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
Yeah, I don't have to answer anything I don't want to because I'm working for free today. You guys see the Seinfeld when George Costanza was trying to get fired and couldn't lose his job and still going to work every day, and that's me. Is it an opening statement? Was that it? What do we got going?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Coach.
I think you nailed it.
Guy's awesome. If you don't know, he got fired before his conference tournament, and then he won the conference tournament. So
he's still coaching.
He's still coaching in the NCAA
gotta tell you, this Montana State Grambling State game sucks.
I'm watching the Capitals and Maple Leafs, so what am I missing?
Nothing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's bad.
Well, we tried watching that Wagner-Howard game, and until the final 2 minutes, that game sucked. And yet it was better than the Virginia game.
This is in the news, March 20, 2024. Noted newsman here, thank you. What was I going to... yeah. Late breaking news today.
What do we got?
Government camp.
Mm-hmm.
The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office says they are working on bringing a family of 6 to safety after they became stuck in several feet of snow overnight while hiking up there.
That's no good.
3 adults, 3 children. They had become stuck. They reported that they were lost around 7:30, but as the rescue team got up there, the trail conditions were too challenging. They had to wait for daylight.
What a terrible way to just kind of wait out an evening. Yeah, frostbite, and hopefully they were like well equipped.
Well, luckily it's not that cold up there. Right?
No?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's cold.
Overnight?
Well, yes, it's going to be cold, but it's not like they didn't catch it at like the coldest time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's still going to be cold.
They almost got Munson out there, and you don't want that. Well, I'm glad that everyone's going to be safe. And
as your noted newsman, I'll keep you posted on that.
10 fingers, 10 toes, the kitties, all that. We're good.
Let's clean up these damn streets.
Yes! That's why I'm going to run for mayor, because I will clean up these streets.
We do have one listener who...
every day.
Pretty much every day, in
Yes.
all caps, texts, Sook, Sook, Sook for Prez. He'll clean up these damn streets.
Yeah. And can I give the city an attaboy? I was out and about over the St. Patty's Day weekend, enjoying the St. Patty's festivities.
Did you run in the Shamrock Run?
I was going to this year, and then I decided not to at the last minute. I was this close.
That's bullshit.
But I did drink with a lot of people that finished the Shamrock Run. I was down there at the Kells tents. So I was out there on over the weekend and then on Friday downtown at the big Kells events down there. And they did a really nice job of cleaning up that downtown area. On Saturday, especially when we were walking along the waterfront, all the cherry blossoms are in bloom. There was a ton of people hanging out down there, and families, kids, and you didn't see tents. We didn't see there's no trash. They did a phenomenal job, which is why can't they do that the other 11 plus months out of the year?
No, you can only do it temporarily.
It was really, and even the area around Kells, that whole area down there on Burnside and over, Voodoo Donuts and that little pocket over there. It was the cleanest I've seen it in years. And I want to give a shout out to whoever got that done. They did a very nice job this weekend of making downtown not look like downtown.
They're going to do it again next week because the women's regional is here.
Yes.
The NCAA tournament.
So
and
we just need more events. Keep coming here.
Yeah, but it's like, if you can clean it up for that, why don't you just clean it up?
Well, it's a valid point. Which is why I need to be mayor. I'm gonna implement that. We're gonna have St. Patrick's Day. So we're just gonna come up with new ethnic events every month, and sporting events, and we'll just in a constant state of cleaning.
The Oregon legislature passed a budget amendment bill last week that includes a one-time infusion of $20 million for ODOT, aimed at helping them clean up homeless encampments along state highways. How about that?
Well, that wouldn't imply here.
$20 million.
Well, there's no state highways running through the middle of the city, but yeah, it's nice.
They said once the bill is signed by the governor, it plans to begin cleaning up highways by the end of April.
Okay, I like it. Like anytime I'm just a firm believer that if we clean this stuff up and we stay at it, it's like the old adage, like when you see a car, you can park it wherever you want, but you break a window on it and the next day it's completely ravaged. I know it takes a lot, but we just can't accept the fact that there's just camps and trash and drug needles everywhere. So I'm glad they're doing this.
So the $20 million that ODOT is getting, $4 million will go for camp cleanups, $4 million for graffiti removal, $4 million for trash removal, and $8 million for access prevention. Things like fencing and putting up concrete barriers to prevent people from setting up camps.
I have noticed too, and I don't know if this is who's doing this, but like at least in Clackamas, over by the gym I go to, We've got the every corner has the people out there with the signs. And by the way, let me just to ask the person there on Sunnyside, don't be smoking meth while asking for money. That's a tough ask.
Can't help it.
You got to put the glass pipe down while you're asking.
You're saying the guy should throw on a sport coat and be presentable? He's a drug addict.
Well, but how can you have the sign he was asking for 79 cents, by the way, which I thought was interesting. And he had a dog dish as his collection pan. Anywho.
Did he kill the dog?
I don't know. I didn't see the dog. But he said he needed 79 cents, but he was smoking a glass pipe. Crack, meth, whatever. But on the corner, out there in Clackamas, on every corner, on the sign, you know what they have? They have the big garbage sacks now. They have the big, hefty, black garbage sacks. And I will say that more often than not, normally the trash that is strewn about the corner areas is going in the big black garbage sacks.
Who's putting it in there?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know if my man smoking the pipe is doing that and the other people that are there, or if someone's coming along and gathering it. I don't know who's putting that. I don't know if that's a government thing. But if you notice, more and more I'm seeing these big black hefty bags that are being attached to the road signs. And I do think it is because we've all seen that corner where the people are panhandling. It just looks like a trash bomb exploded. And it is, I'm not saying it's the cleanest spot in the world, but those trash bags I think are helping.
Also, we've been corrected. Well, you've been corrected.
What?
A lot of state highways. We've got 26 state highway. That turns into Powell.
Well, yeah.
And then you've got Highway 30.
But that's not like in the heart of the city necessarily, right?
Well, Highway 30 is right here by us, and then you got 405 here.
So does that? Will they come down here and clean?
Yeah, because they're the ones that put out the boulders and stuff.
Okay.
And we have a bunch of boulders down here. By you know how they put the boulders out so that people won't camp down there?
Yes. I
tell you what, I got to tell you that boulder thing, super effective. Now I'm not sure it's effective in a sense that I'm sure the people just set up shop somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you don't want somebody to sit.
Yeah, big boulders.
To put a camp down.
Yeah.
Big boulders work.
Yeah, and then everyone gets mad because they say it's like putting up the spikes for pigeons, and then everyone gets all bent out of shape over it. But
real quick, I'll jot this down for the club. I got one of those pop-up fruit seller illegal guys.
There's one on my corner every day.
I don't like it.
No?
Nah.
Mine are pretty nice.
I want him out.
Really?
I think I want him out.
Ours is a little family that sells.
Yeah, I think I want him out.
You don't like it?
And I tell you why. It's not him.
Yeah.
It's the people that show up to buy his fruits.
Oh. Now,
they're very rude and loud, and they also drive on my ass.
Oh. Are they only selling oranges, or are they selling multiple fruit?
Well, it's different every day.
Because my people only sell oranges.
Yeah, today they had strawberries.
But it's the same family, and they seem quite nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's we need to talk about this.
By the way, Vancouver Ford text line, down at the cherry blossoms right now, looking great down there.
Looking great.
See?
Well, hey, when the cherry blossoms look good, it makes that.
Yeah.
It makes it nice down there.
Yeah, they had the market going on, the Saturday market down there, and the cherry blossoms. I'm telling you, this weekend was a great weekend to be downtown and not run in the Shamrock Run.
Yeah. Saw a thing with the Mother's Bistro lady.
Mm-hmm.
Forget her name. But they were interviewing her because she's closing. She's right down there by the, by the blossoms and waterfront and everything. Yeah. And she's closing on Sundays and Mondays now, and she keeps saying there's just not enough action down there.
Yeah.
It's like people
we need more foot traffic.
Yeah.
Well, I think this weekend was a good step because there were a lot of people down there, and it was looking good. It was a great vibe. It felt like Portland from like 5 years ago.
Well, we'll talk about the Fruit Bros in the club. I'll jot that down. I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because is that legal?
No, I don't think so. Every now and then the cops come by, the
Do
Vancouver police, and
what do they do to them? They shake them down?
I don't know, but I've seen on multiple, because they're always on the same corner. They're right there on McGilvery and over by where I live. And I've seen multiple times where there is a Vancouver police officer that gets out and he's talking to them. I don't know what he says. I don't know if he shoos them away. But if he does shoo them away, I'm telling you, they come back. They're there basically every day, and it's the same family. And sometimes it's weird because it's just the kids.
Yeah, well,
And sometimes
gotta make some pesos.
They're kind of little kids, but I buy from
little
them.
Kids can sell fruit.
I don't need that many oranges.
I think you gotta have a permit, and they're probably asking for their permit.
Yeah, probably.
And they probably have a permit.
I don't think they have a permit. This seems very much off the books. I'll take a photo because it does not seem like a real, like, put together sort of situation. It just is like, we've got a bunch of oranges in here.
Somebody told me there's a bigger racket going on that includes trafficking.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. We're out of time now. We'll talk about that in the club. That's in the news, March 20, 2024. Hot 5 at 5 coming up next. I got Beaver and Coug news. Washington is losing its AD. And the second four of the first four playing tonight. All that next on The Fan.
It's time for High Stakes, a tasty look at clutch performances and the biggest games. Served up by Steakadelphia.
38 seconds left in the half. Here's Rocky, elevates from deep. Pretty stroke with the shot clock winding down.
That's Montana State at the end of the half. They went up by 9. They are currently up by 11 over Grambling State, 53-44, about 12 minutes left to play. What's at stake? The right to go on and beat Purdue. Because remember, Fairleigh Dickinson was a play-in team last year.
They sure were.
And they beat Purdue. So there's a lot at stake. Up.
Tell you what,
This hot Montana State Grambling game, huh?
Yeah, it's good little ball game.
When did Grambling become state, by the way?
53-47.
Weren't they always just Grambling?
I think they always have been technically, but people just shorten it to Grambling. I don't know.
Am I the only one that finds it odd when it's something state, but it's not state? It's just Grambling, like Washington State. Well, it's Washington State.
Yeah,
Ferris
why is-
State.
Yeah, I don't know.
Grambling's not a state.
Appalachian State.
I learned that in school.
Yeah, but I guess is Grambling a state college then? Is that what that is?
It must be a state university. I mean that I would think that's the only way you could become.
But like Central Washington, like when my kid, like it's a state school, but it's not Central Washington State. Oh, I always find it weird when it's Grambling, but it's Grambling State. I always thought it was just Grambling, but what do I know?
Yeah, it started as Grambling College.
Because there's not two Gramblings, right? That's Eddie Robinson, right? That's Grambling.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the only thing I know about Grambling. Is it in Alabama, Georgia?
I thought it was Georgia.
Maybe something like that. I don't know. And I don't know Montana State, but I don't know. Go Bobcats.
I think it's in Louisiana, you guys.
Louisiana?
Grambling State is in Grambling, Louisiana.
Hell yeah.
How about that?
It says the campus is rural.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and someone else, Portland State. Again, I find that a little weird.
Portland's not a state. I also learned that in school. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
This is a good game, though. Well, it's not a good game. It's a bad game. But it's now getting close, and that makes it fun. 53-49 in favor of Montana State.
Yeah, the key to March Madness is the games are very rarely actually good games.
Yeah.
But
we just like to see them compete.
Exactly. As long as it's close down the stretch, and then we see a terrible inbounds play and some awful shots late. But, as long as it's gives us some drama.
Well, yeah, we need these teams to go these like 4-5, or if you're Virginia, like hour-long scoreless stretches, and then we got a ball game.
Yeah, yesterday Virginia went game clock 13:58 without a bucket. 14 minutes of game time.
Isn't that awesome?
And real time with halftime, 20 minutes, it was an hour. They went an hour in between baskets. The best is at the end of it, Tony Bennett was like, we may have to review our system. You think? I love it.
They're weird because they won a title, but they also do things like that.
Yeah, the last 5 tournaments, they have one national title, and they've bowed out in the first round the other 4 times.
That's so weird.
And they shouldn't even be in the tournament this year. Like, if you're Indiana State sitting around right now, you're like, seriously? Like, they made it they
What's
made it
his
over
nuts?
us?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't make the tournament.
No.
Because Oregon was out there stealing bids from people.
Well, and Virginia was the team that most people said, like, if you were going to have a rub with someone getting in.
That's the one everyone had a gripe with.
That's the one everyone had a gripe about. And then they go out and they put up 40 points and don't score for an hour. It kind of validates Seton Hall and St. John's and Indiana State. You're like, are you freaking kidding me? But kudos to the man that the Colorado State fan that had a T-shirt that he was wearing. Said,
are you kidding me?
It said Virginia basketball is Iowa. Virginia basketball is Iowa football. God bless that man. That's brilliant.
I hope
trolling.
he makes $1 million.
I hope so too.
Well, last I checked, Iowa football hadn't won NCAA.
That's true.
Tournament.
You imagine though
Maybe
that
it's time to grab a hold of your little step ladders and go ahead and climb out of my ass for a while.
The question becomes, how much goodwill does a national championship buy you? Like EJ, how many years in a row can you get bounced in the first round scoring 40 points and just be like, we won a national championship?
Yeah, you're right. That'll be interesting.
I mean, Matt Painter's lost as a 16, a 15, and a 14, I
he
think.
Needs
so
to win. That dude needs to win.
The fact he's still doing it.
But
you don't know Purdue, by the way.
Bennett, they're not going to fire him. But it was interesting to hear him say that they would. He would look at his system.
Yeah, he said that they would examine it.
Maybe go a little more up-tempo tone.
Well, I mean, God. I am often blown away by the fact, like, I get Virginia is known for defense and it's how they play, but
they are who we thought they were.
What stops you? Like, they say, hey, we're going to spend a lot of time. We're going to be a defensive-minded team. We're going to be, oriented that way and slap the floor and all that. What stops you from being at least a somewhat competent offensive team? Like, why can't you do a little bit of both? I've never understood that. It's just, like, you spend no time in practice? Like, shooting a jumper. You can't recruit one kid, just one, and be like, hey, man, I don't give a damn what you do on the defensive end. I'm just going to go find one kid that can score, and our entire offense is going to be clear the floor and let that guy operate.
I think what they do is they go hire Nolan Richardson if he's still alive, which he's probably not.
Is he still alive?
And run 40 minutes of hell.
Those were some fun basketball
get
teams
it.
to watch. Those old Arkansas teams.
I think he's dead.
I think so too, but
rest in peace.
I'm not certain, and I don't want to be the one that
Okay,
buries him.
coming up tonight in the club, the pop-up fruit-selling illegals. We will have to discuss. I'm torn.
By the way, Nay.
He's alive?
Not dead. 82 years of age.
Great.
And he looks awesome. He's got a sweet, kick-ass white afro with a cool white beard.
Well, maybe Virginia can hire him as a consultant.
I don't know what you're consulting at 82, but,
40 minutes of hell, man.
Yeah.
Would you amputate a leg for $1.3 million? That'll be in the club. This hour, proposed NFL rule changes, and Dana Altman's favorite band is 100% who you would think it is. But right now, the Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, Charlie, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victorricos.com. Number 5.
The second four of the first four playing tonight as 16 seeds Grambling and Montana State are meeting for the right to beat Purdue. Right now, Montana State has a 59-52 lead with about 8 minutes left.
If you had a monkey paw sports wish, wouldn't it be for Purdue to lose again to a play-in 16 seed? I mean, back-to-back years.
I think that would be great.
It would be fantastic.
Yes, please. Sign me up.
I know you would have to pick Kansas national championship.
Not this year.
But come on. That would be fantastic. Zach Edey goes down again.
Just after 6 on True TV, 10-seed Colorado meets Boise State, and they battle for the right to meet 7-seed Florida. The Buffs, they had won 8 straight until they were knocked off by the Mighty Ducks of Oregon.
Well, and they've got the kid that's going to be like the first or second pick in the NBA draft. Old what's his nuts? Is it Cody Williams?
Sure.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah, he's like a 6'9" small forward. So
Great little player.
I mean, we were talking about like star players and whatnot. Like who you watching? Well, Colorado's got a guy that in every mock draft is a top 3.
Police are in Florida are searching for Lions cornerback Cameron Sutton.
He's on the lam.
He is on the lam. There's been an arrest warrant issued over his involvement in a domestic. The charge is domestic battery by strangulation. It is a third-degree felony punishable by up to 5 years. Now, this happened back on March 7th, and they say that Crime Stoppers have been trying to apprehend him ever since.
Yeah.
And he's nowhere to be found.
No.
What do you think he thinks is going to happen?
This is what I always say. Like, what are you doing running from, like, unless you're planning on fleeing the country and you're just going to vanish, like, what's your dumbass doing? I mean, seriously.
Well, maybe
they're not going to forget about you. And by the way, eventually they know where you're going to be. You can't show up for OTAs and just be like,
And you probably can't go withdraw your money either. So just like show up and face the music.
Exactly. Like,
maybe he's going through some stuff mentally, or
always possible.
Well, hopefully he's hopefully everyone's okay. The victim, and I want him to do something drastic.
Oregon State and Washington State have negotiated amended amounts from the new college football playoff TV deal. Now, each of the next 2 years, they get a whopping lump sum of $350,000, which is unbelievable. But Ross Dellinger reporting that for at least 2026 through 2028, they will each get $3.6 million.
Okay, so that's better because they're both being viewed as independents right now.
Correct.
And the independents outside of Notre Dame don't get squat.
That's like UConn. They get $350K.
Yeah.
And then G5 teams get $1.5 million. So this is well north of that.
Sure. Okay. Well,
But that's only for 2 seasons. But
that's something. Right?
Hopefully they'll. I mean, that's pretty good. That's better than it was.
Than where you were.
Yeah. By the way, the Timbers, local news note I'm going to throw in here. They have signed the highest paid player in club history, landing forward Jonathan Rodriguez from Uruguay.
Cabecita!
That's his nickname, right?
That's right.
See, I knew that.
By the way,
I'm a soccer guy.
I have big Timber news. I may have changed the course for Timber season ticket holders forever.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just.
Why are you dropping this on this right now?
For later on. Later on. Now that I'm Soccer Souk, I am the official soccer
Did you do something about the
aficionado.
popcorn issue?
It's possible. It's possible. Just saying, if you're going to Timbers games this weekend, you may owe me a big thank you.
Major League Baseball season officially opened in Korea early this morning. The Dodgers beat the Padres 5-2 with LA scoring 4 in the 8th. There was a bomb threat before the game. They said it would detonate during the game, but a sweep of the park revealed that it was a hoax. The two teams meet again Thursday. Now, the bigger news is that Shohei Ohtani has fired his friend and interpreter today, alleging that the dude stole $4.5 million from him to pay off gambling debts.
And by the way, and we talked about the story earlier. I don't know if we'll get to it again, but look into this. It seems awful shady. I mean, 2 and 2 isn't adding up to 4 here. Kind of feels like maybe Ohtani's got a gambling problem and this dude's a fall guy.
The shady part is that Ohtani's camp has changed his story
multiple times.
Twice about where the money came from. And
well, his camp trotted out the interpreter to explain himself, and then after he explained himself, they said, no, that
That's
wasn't
not
right, and they didn't make him available again.
So it is very fishy. It is very fishy. And number one, Washington is losing its AD. Troy Dannon, hired in October to replace Jen Cohen, is off to Nebraska to replace Trev Alberts, who left for Texas A&M.
Is that good to leave, to have your AD leave after 6 months? Is that ideal?
No, I'm guessing not. In these 6 months, Dannon lost Kalen DeBoer, hired Jed Fish, and fired basketball coach Mike Hopkins. Remember, they do not have a men's basketball coach right now.
No, but everyone kind of thinks it's going to be the Utah State guy, the sprinkler. And you got to wait for him to finish.
Danny Sprinkle, is that it?
Danny Sprinkle.
Yeah, Danny Sprinkle.
The sprinkler.
Yeah.
I was
Could be coming.
I was waiting for this, and somebody did throw it out there that Scott Barnes' name could pop up for UW.
Yeah, even though Scott Barnes originally said that he was withdrawing and he wasn't interested in the job, aka they didn't offer it to me, but something tells me that he's raising his hand again and being like, please.
That was back when Dannon got the job.
Yeah.
His buyout at Oregon State is $1.5 million.
Yeah. And by the way, he also got a bit of a pay bump. Dannon going to Nebraska, he gets $600 more per year. He gets $100,000 extra bump every year that he's there for the 6 years, and he gets $1 million signing bonus. So, financially, and that money goes longer, a greater. What do you say? The money goes further in Nebraska than it does Seattle, and he's a Midwest guy.
Hot 5 at 5 brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. The proposed NFL rules changes next. 521 on the Fan. that Grambling was just Grambling,
Yeah.
but it is now Grambling State.
Was it always Grambling State?
Well, no. Like I said, it started as Grambling College, but I'm having a real hard time figuring out when they changed it to Grambling State.
Because didn't Memphis do that too? Isn't it now Memphis State? I always thought it was just Memphis, like Penny
Is
Hardaway,
it?
Memphis.
It's Memphis
I
State.
don't know.
I think it's Memphis State.
I tell you, these colleges got to stop changing their names.
Is it all part of big money rebrand? You got to buy more merch if you change it up.
I guess. When's the last? Now that would be awesome if a school just if the Ducks just were like, and we're now the whatever.
University of Oregon Tech.
Yeah, you just change something or change the mascot. The Fightin' Sioux had to do that. North Dakota was the Fightin' Sioux, and they had to change it because there was a whole controversy over the Native American thing. And,
That's right.
So
Well, what if it's just their mascot's just a fun little woman from Boston named Sue?
Suppose you could do that, but then she wouldn't be the Fightin' Sioux. She'd be the affable Sioux.
Well, maybe she's scrappy.
The North Dakota affable Sioux. Can you imagine if like the Ducks decided not to be the Ducks, they were going to be like the Plainsmen? We're like, on further.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, why would you change your name? But
They were the Webfoots. Now they're the Ducks.
Yeah, sports teams do it from time to time. And by the way, there's a couple sports teams that 100% should do that. I'm looking right at you, Commanders.
Yeah.
The Commanders should do that. The Hornets.
I really think any of these baseball teams that are still just pedestrian birds should change. The Orioles, Cardinals, Blue Jays, grow up. Let's do something here.
Grow up.
And you're just like
Grow
normal
up.
birds.
Grow up.
Grow up and change your name to the Butterhogs.
By the way, I love that. That's a great Schulte-esque rant right there. All these birds grow up.
He's going to go get him one of those Milwaukee Butterhogs. Courage. All right. The NFL today officially submitted proposals for rules changes for the upcoming season.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of these we've discussed before, but they are now officially going to be voted upon.
And one of them, by the way, if it gets voted through, and I feel like it's going to, it will be the biggest on-field shift we've seen in 20 years.
So the first one is the hip drop tackle.
Yeah, you
And
knew that was coming.
That is, what they want to do is they want to create and enforce a 15-yard penalty for any player who uses the hip drop tackle. Now, this has become controversial because it can really, it's a dangerous. I guess dangerous.
It's breaking legs.
It can, and guys have gotten hurt from it. It's when a player, quote, grabs the runner with both hands or wraps the runner with both arms and unweights himself by swiveling and dropping his hips and or lower body, landing on and trapping the runner's legs at or below the knee. We've seen it a million times.
This is the same thing that happened when they outlawed the horse collar tackle. We had a couple guys get hurt. Terrell Owens broke his leg, and they were like, all right, we're not doing this anymore. And there's been a rash of them. I mean, Tony Pollard is the one that comes to mind, but we've had a rash of them. And so
Didn't Jerry Rice get his done that way when he was with the Niners?
He might have. I mean, and so I think this one's going to be tough because I think you've eliminated so many ways to tackle people now. I just think that this is going to be hard for defenders because I think naturally if you're trying to tackle a guy from behind, and especially if it's a big dude, a Derrick Henry, I just don't know how you're supposed to bring some of these guys down from the side.
I think
or
a
from
lot of them
behind.
can't unless they use the totality of their body weight.
Yes.
And so you kind of have to. Whereas the horse collar, you're reaching for something. You just have to not reach for that area anymore. But the hip drop thing, it's like you're just trying to get this guy to the ground.
So you're going to have to now do the from behind, you're going to have to make a real conscious effort to when you've got someone with their arms wrapped around him. As you fall, you're just going to have to force yourself off to the side. I mean, this is.
Or don't you just drop lower?
I mean, I guess,
and wrap up his ankles.
But that's the problem is as you're dropping and you're letting go of him, you're going to have to then re-grip his legs. This is going to be problematic for guys for a while.
So the NFL says that they believe that they can correctly call the infraction. However, the Players Association is worried about subjectivity, obviously.
Yep.
Okay, the revamped kickoff. They are aiming to remake kickoff formations and return options, prohibiting the kicking team from moving until the ball contacts or is fielded within a designated landing zone. Have you read about this landing zone thing?
Yes. So this is all to encourage balls being returned, and they did do this in the XFL, and now they're doing it in whatever the rebranded XFL, USFL horse crap merger. They're basically adopting, with some tweaks, their model.
Yeah, I think the tweaks are that they have different zones.
No, the tweaks
Is
are
that
where,
the C?
the tweaks are where the people are going to line up.
Okay. Okay, so this one's kind of hard to describe, but the kicker kicks off from the normal place.
Yes.
You can have 2 returners, and the line, the everybody else, they're within 10 yards of each other.
Yeah.
In other words, they are not running 50 yards directly into one another. They start 10 yards from each other.
And
so the kicker is way back by himself, and the rest of his team is up by the receiving team.
I think it's the 35 or the 40.
I think it's the 40.
The 40 of the receiving team. So they're
Correct.
lined up. And I think
Correct.
that's the one. I think that's the difference in the XFL. Like they're lined up in different areas.
Okay, so the landing zones are interesting. If a kick doesn't reach the zone in the proposed rules, the ball would be placed at the 40-yard line.
Yes. So basically what they're saying is they are going to penalize you for kicking it into the end zone.
That's like the out-of-bounds kickoff,
Yes,
basically.
they are basically telling that we do not want touchbacks, and so you are going to be forced to kick the ball. We want these balls in play.
If it goes out of or is downed inside the end zone, the ball will go out to the 35.
Mm-hmm.
And if it hits the zone, rolls into the end zone and is downed, it would go out to the 20.
Yeah.
Any ball fielded in the zone, meanwhile, would have to be returned.
Yes.
Onside kicks would remain under this proposal, but teams attempting them would be required to alert the opposing club.
Yes.
And could only do so in the fourth quarter and if trailing.
Yep. So no surprise onside kicks, Saints Super Bowl onside, none of that. Because you by landing in the zone, you can't kick the ball short in this. It has to go into that zone.
Okay. So that's a little confusing. So the landing zone, they're saying is the 20, is like the red zone.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Has to land in there.
It has to land in there.
I mean, it doesn't.
If
but
it doesn't, it goes all the way out to the 40.
Yes, there's penalties for it. Yeah, it's like what Buck said. It's the penalty if you kick the ball out of bounds. There's a and they did
That's
this,
the equivalent.
They did this in the XFL. I think it was like less than 25% of all kicks this year were returned. In the XFL, more than 90% of the kicks were returned. So this just puts an emphasis because you don't want to give the team the ball on the 40-yard line. So you're going to have guys now that are not necessarily pooching kicks, but you're going to have guys that are going to kick it. You're better off kicking it to the 10 than you are trying to kick it to the 3 or 4.
Does it kind of turn place kickers into punters, essentially, where
A
you're
little
trying
bit.
to, like,
a little bit.
pin it?
I feel like on the surface, this is going to make this a very interesting play.
Absolutely.
Because so no more fair catches.
Nope.
And the kicking team can't move until the ball hits in the landing zone or is fielded there.
Yes, everyone has to stay put. The players 10 yards away from each other. Once the ball lands or is caught, then it goes. So you've basically eliminated the big 20-plus yard run-ups because you don't want concussions. You don't want these violent collisions.
Do you like that? Do you like that? I don't hate it.
I have not seen the XFL do this because I refuse to watch that horse crap league. I'm intrigued by this. I don't hate it. I think it's weird. I think it's going to be some adjustment, but I'm open to the idea of this being a good thing for the game because I hate the fact that the kickoff has now become
it's just
it's a throwaway play.
It's stupid.
Yes, but I think it's weird that you're having to inform a team of the onside kick, but
onsides have gotten stupid too.
Yeah, but at least with the element of surprise, you might be able to still get one. But
well, there is no more element of surprise.
Exactly, but I'm saying in today's world, there still is. You can't really get an onside kick with the rules that they've had, but you can still surprise the team with one.
Yeah, but I think they said it was like 4%.
Yeah.
Conversion rate on the onside. Yeah. I mean,
but I think if you do a sneak one, like in non-typical onside situations, they're super effective, but only because no one's expecting them.
Yeah.
I mean, in situations where you need them in the game, they've become almost useless.
Like Sean Payton in the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Remember that?
Yep. Like I said, that changed that game forever. But I guess how many times does that happen? So, I hate using one example over 30 years. We're like, oh, it's going to eliminate that play. If this makes the kickoff more exciting and you actually get real returns, then I'm for it because I miss that. Back in the day, that used to be a really exciting play. Devin Hester, and that's not a thing anymore. Yeah. And now every kicker can boot it out of the end zone, like everybody.
True. Okay, those are the proposed rules changes. A couple of key ones
Yeah.
in the NFL. Dana Altman's favorite band, 100% predictable. That's next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by 808 Hawaiian Restaurant. Enjoy some Kahlua Pig Terry Chicken and an island cocktail at Burnside Woodstock, or order online at ate-oh
of the favorite bands of each of the coaches.
Yeah. And some of them are right on target.
I thought it was great. A lot of them are right on target. You know,
some of them are pandering to their players.
Well, that or they just are total idiots.
Like I forget who it was. One of them had Little Durk. Lil Durk? No.
Who the hell is Lil Durk?
Young Jeezy?
Yeah, Lil Durk is not your favorite artist.
Hey, the Grambling guy.
Stop it.
Right now it's 72-72, by the way. 15 seconds left. Ooh. Tell me the first four is not fire. Okay?
Well, it's terrible basketball.
It was a nice take.
All right, we're getting a final.
Got blocked. 6 seconds left. Grambling has the ball with the game tied.
Boy, he almost traveled like Weber, but
why did
they gave him the
let
timeout.
4 seconds go off before calling timeout?
I think he was trying to call it earlier, and the ref didn't
So
give
that
it to
guy
him.
right there, Dante Jackson, that coach for Grambling, Young Jeezy.
Okay.
His favorite artist. Okay, so Dana Altman is on here. Obviously, every team in the tournament, every coach was asked this.
Yeah.
I believe this to be the most predictable of pretty much any of them.
Well, I don't know. BYU's is pretty good too. I don't know if you saw Mark Pope's.
Was it the Mormon Tabernacle Choir?
No, but that's pretty good.
I don't know much about Mark Pope, so I don't know what.
So Mark Pope, who's the BYU coach, good coach, but he is the BYU coach. Again, 4 white guys and an Egyptian. He went with Taylor Swift.
Aww.
And if a Mormon
Taylor Swift,
if the Mormon coach is going to pick someone, T Swizzle's a
pretty good.
That's
nice and wholesome.
Nice and wholesome.
He probably has daughters.
I would think so. Doesn't it make sense?
Do you want to get you? Well, you saw. Did you see Altman's?
I saw the list.
Okay. Did you see Altman's?
I didn't see all of them, but yes, I saw Midwestern Girl Dad.
Yeah.
Altman.
So my guess is I have not seen this list. We're somewhere like around a solo male recording artist, probably folksy or Southern. I'm thinking along the lines of like George Strait, Johnny Cash, or Waylon Jennings, something like that.
No, that's way too outlaw for Dana Altman.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
You
too
got
edgy.
That's way
so
too edgy.
He's going to be like.
Okay, they're a huge band, absolutely enormous, and it is absolutely 100% on brand.
Yes.
That's a
you too.
No, but keep going. Close.
You're too edgy.
Huge band.
You're just too edgy.
Huge band.
Yeah.
I mean, enormous.
Yeah.
The Beatles.
No.
Again.
But you're getting closer.
Again, Sgt. Pepper's too far out there. Are you kidding me? They're
a little too hippie.
Little too hippie.
Wow, I'm trying to think of like the most mainstream band ever.
Think of a band that just is so universal. Like it's just they do not offend anybody.
Except for each other.
And they're good. And they hated
the Eagles?
The Eagles.
That is
yes.
so Dana Altman. I should have come up with that.
Hey,
Okay.
man, it's been a rough evening. I hate the effing Eagles. Yes.
That is perfect.
Really on brand.
It is. 100%.
Mark Few.
I also enjoyed, too, that the McDermott, the coach of Creighton, his old place, went with Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
And that's another one that I can see, like, again, Creighton, Parrot Head, yeah, sure. The Midwest loves some Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
I would imagine one coach on here would at least be a Parrot Head.
Yeah.
Bill Self was Earth, Wind, and Fire, which I don't know how to feel about that.
A little strange.
My guy.
Rick Barnes from Tennessee went with Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Who, by the way, whose favorite, unless you're like I guess like a 32-year-old
girl. That's not
girl.
true. He asked his wife or daughter.
Carrie,
no
you're
way.
telling me Rick Barnes, your
fires
favorite?
up the old iPod and puts on Carrie Underwood? No, he doesn't.
He wants to get in her pants.
That's
probably true.
That's the only reason you pick Carrie Underwood is you want some.
Or
Carrie
is she
Underwood.
like a proud Tennessean? Is that why you make that pick or something?
Rick Barnes isn't he? I thought he was a Texas.
He
guy.
was a Texas. He's now in Tennessee.
Now in Tennessee.
I don't know if it was just like a regional endear yourself pick.
Mark Few, pretty on brand with Luke Combs.
Yeah, Luke Combs, for whatever reason, I don't know a lot about Luke Combs because modern country kind of blows, but a lot of people love Luke Combs. He's kind of become a big deal.
What else do we have here? We have I thought the Arizona guy, Tommy Lloyd.
Who did he pick?
He picked the Beastie Boys.
Oh.
And I thought that was rad. That makes me like him.
Okay. Yeah. Little different.
How old?
There.
That's probably enigmatic of his age, right? That's probably like his
probably
wheelhouse.
my age.
Yeah.
Well, he's a little older, maybe.
We can see that
right in there.
Dan Monson.
What do you go with?
Old Dominion.
Oh gosh. Really?
He's off my list.
Yeah, for whatever reason, there's a lot of college football coaches that like bro country too. Like the Florida Georgia line, Old Dominion, type stuff.
I'm sorry. I think those bands are all absolute crap.
Couldn't agree more.
All of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Hubert Davis that picked Lil Durk. Really? Hubert Davis is like 52. You're telling me Lil Durk is your favorite artist? No, it's not.
Did he come visit the team in the locker room once?
Stop it. We got a bunch of Dave Matthews bands. Scott Drew, that was another one that was Scott Drew picked Elevation Worship.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, stop it, Scott Drew.
Randy Bennett, St. Mary's, Bruce Springsteen.
I can see that.
Respect there.
Yeah.
Nothing
wrong with the boss.
If someone had to ask you guys just
I know.
one artist,
I knew you were going to ask that. I refuse to answer this question because I think it's an impossible
well,
question.
these coaches didn't get that option, so you have to answer it.
I cannot. And that's why I would say Carrie Underwood.
Don't be a coward.
Oh, so you would do that? You'd pick one that wasn't actually it because you're protesting the question.
You have to pick one.
I just think it's so stupid.
Well, I know it is, but
it's not one band.
I understand. You still have to pick.
You go
one.
through phases.
Pick one. The Carpenters.
I love the Carpenters.
I don't know why, but that's what I thought about for you. You have to pick one. Don't be that.
Would you say
guy.
Metallica, Suk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me think about it.
Because I have a rotating list. I have like 10 bands that I would say that are a rotating cast, but it's pretty easy for me. I have a Metallica tattoo, for God's sake.
Mine's Lil Uzi.
Now, Lil Uzi or Lil Uzi Vert?
Both.
Okay.
My favorite bands is like the 6th grade. So you go through phases, but you always return to one dark master. Like growing up, who was your favorite band? Because that's usually what it is. It's someone in your early preteen or teenage days. Mine was my Fat Aggression sitting in my bedroom listening to Master of Puppets. Stuck with me all these
Yeah, but see,
years.
I grew up like listening to like a lot of punk, like Green Day and Offspring and stuff, and like that's not my jam anymore. So I wouldn't go that way.
Where would you go, Buckley?
I might go with something like I don't know. I'm an easy listening guy now. Like Fleetwood Mac. What might make
God,
it?
I love Fleetwood Mac.
They're awesome.
I wanted you to say Little River Band.
No, I wouldn't go Little River
Tell you
Band.
what, I could do Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd.
That's fine. Yeah, don't be the guy that says, I can't pick.
Maybe I go Hall & Oates.
Shaka Smart went Tupac. Respect.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Shaka Smart.
Both Duke and Kentucky both went Drake.
Oh,
That for
No
Calipari is
freaking
so
way.
on brand because all he cares about is endearing himself to
That's
the
right.
kids. And like
I bet you he can't name one Drake song.
that is a perfect Calipari pick though. That's
Oh,
not
what's his
surprising
word?
at all.
Is it Schreier, John Schreier, the Duke guy? Is that
Shire, yeah.
Shire? You're telling me he listens to Drake?
He might be
He's
young enough he
younger.
does listen to
Yeah,
Drake.
he probably does.
He's younger than I am.
Calipari, Drake, get out of here.
Calipari's just saying that for the
douche.
recruits.
I hate him.
And actually, I think Drake has come to their games many a time.
Yeah, I think he may be. Well, he comes to everyone's games.
Well, so that was people are saying that Houston might be cursed because he was at Houston's party for the bracket unveiling. That's Drake's team this year.
A couple other people have religion, like Casting Crowns. There's another one like Hillsong Church. There's some people going with the boy. And I'll tell you what, I'm not taking anyone's shot. Like if you love Jesus, more power to you. I am fascinated by the people that listen to Christian rock. That blows my mind. You're like, I like to rock, but I like to praise Jesus too. That fascinates me. That there is a whole sect of people out there. Weirder than that is Christian rap. That's double weird. Blows my mind.
So remember we talked about Keith Dambrot, the coach who got fired for asking his players if he could use the N-word.
Yeah.
In the pregame speech.
Yeah, what did he pick?
He picked Billy Currington.
What?
He's a country guy.
I understand. This is another one that I'm fascinated by. Like, whatever. But like Billy, like that's the most random of all the country music that's out there. Billy Currington, like what?
Dan Hurley of UConn, Pearl Jam.
All right, I figured there'd be some Pearl Jams in there because a lot of these coaches are mid-50s. Mid-50 white guys. You'd think there'd be some Pearl Jam, some Dave Matthews, some Metallicas.
I
in
would
there.
say Pearl Jam too on mine, but that would be a little too cliche.
Yeah.
But dude, you said who's your favorite band growing up? Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam.
Come on, wasn't it everybody's in my age?
Yeah, that was a big deal. Trying to look at some of the other ones that might be a little off the beaten path. We got a Morgan Wallen.
Who likes him?
Underwood, the Illinois coach.
Is Morgan Whalen the racist guy?
He's the guy that was shouting the N-word a bunch, and turns out he
won a bunch of Grammys.
Well, I can't imagine that would go over well with your players.
I don't know. But we got a John Mellencamp in there. We got a Kenny Chesney. We got a Marvin Gaye. Northwestern, their guy goes babyface.
Okay.
What?
Chris Collins went babyface?
That's a little bit of an upset.
Don't know. Who. That's the thing is, I'm well aware of who Babyface is. I couldn't name you one Babyface song.
Nope.
Babyface did.
Fred Hoiberg goes Queen. Underrated, by the way.
I don't know what Babyface does.
Todd Golden, the Florida coach, went Sublime. Got a couple Michael Jacksons in there.
All right. Well, Dana Altman, pretty predictable.
The Eagles.
With the Eagles. Hey, the Eagles are great.
The Eagles are great.
But that just really fits him.
Yes. 100%.
And I can see him at an Eagles show.
Oh, yeah. And not really
standing there.
I was going to say very stoic.
A slight sway, if anything.
A slight sway.
Yep.
And maybe
you might get a couple head bobs.
And maybe if you're lucky during Take It Easy, a head bob. Maybe. And then a Desperado, just a head nod. Yeah. He's out riding fences. He knows what's up. Hey, by the way, Danny Sprinkle, your next UW coach, went Prince.
Cool.
Respect.
Purple Rain, it's a sign.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, UW fan everywhere, rejoice.
All right. It is 5:53 on the Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Well, the Ducks tip it off in the NCAA tournament tomorrow against South Carolina, the Gamecocks. It will be a 1 p.m. tip. 1 p.m. tip.
1 o'clock.
Right here on the Fanzy.
Yeah.
And we'll be on right after the game.
Yeah, so we might be slightly late, but
with our big breakdown.
Ducky's still catching points.
Are they? What's the spread?
1.5.
It's basically a pick 'em.
I like Oregon.
I do too.
South Carolina, I guess, by the way, plays super slow tempo, want to grind it out. So
yeah, screw them.
It could be a very boring
I don't feel like that's going to bother this Ducks team.
Great. 45-40. Here we come.
Yeah.
Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
What's your opinion?
It's thick, it's meaty.
The AAA Heating and Cooling poll question gives you a chance to vote on the hottest topics of the day, according to Isaac and Sue.
They were more excited than I was because I did it.
Brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, a family business helping families for over 50 years. Visit AAAIAQ.com. The AAA Heating and Cooling poll question. Vote now on Twitter at 1080 The Fan.
The basketball season is heating up at the A-Lene Sportsbook. Place your bets 24/7 on both pro and college ball. Cash in and catch all the action on the largest video wall in the Pacific Northwest with a full bar, tap beers from micro to macro, and the best pub grub around. The region's premier sports betting venue? Sounds like fun. Only at A-Lene. Find out more at ILANIresort.com.
Hey, what's up? It's Rob. My wife and I, we've done a home remodel and built an ADU in the last 3 years. And after having done so, one thing I value more than ever is windows. Not only their look, but how much they can improve the feel of your home and the importance in keeping energy bills down. Right now at Window Nation, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 24 months. Window Nation carries customized windows by Milgard made locally for our climate. Get a free, no-obligation quote right now at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com.
Save thousands. Be advised, this is a great opportunity to save thousands on a hot tub or swim spa. Friday through Sunday, Portland Expo Center. Save thousands. Be advised, this is a great opportunity to save thousands on a hot tub or swim spa. Friday through Sunday, Portland Expo Center. 18-month interest-free financing. Brand new 2024 inventory ready for immediate delivery. Portland Expo Center. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Portland Expo Center. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Come see the revolutionary new swim spa in action at exceptional prices. Portland Expo Center. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Portland Expo Center. Friday, noon to 8 p.m.
Grambling beating Montana State 84-78 with 22 seconds left. Montana State has gone cold from three. As a matter of fact, they got a couple white guys that are chucking up crap. So they're going to lose, and Grambling State is going to move on to play Purdue, and it's going to be the battle of the races, and black versus white.
Yeah. Look at that afro. I don't know who that kid on the bench is, but, dude, that guy is first-team All-Afro tournament.
Because isn't Purdue all white?
Purdue's got a lot of whites, although Eddie's like
Zach Edey is
he's like Mongolian or something.
Is he?
Yeah, he's not,
also Canadian.
He's not white. He's got something going on. It's also he's going to be the next great like NCAA player of the year that can't play in the NBA because he can't move.
He's Chinese and white.
Chinese and white.
Quick update on the Isaac and Suk Drop Bracket Challenge. That's going on at 1080thefan.com. That you can see the bracket there. Got a ROP regional and a Suk regional, and we've got 4 polls up on X right now at 1080thefan that you can vote. Right now, the better drop on the ROP regional round 1 matchup of What an Exciting Time versus You Have a Responsibility to Be More Responsible.
Thank you, Seth Everett.
You have a responsibility to your audience to be more responsible.
The leader right now is What an Exciting Time.
What an exciting time.
55% to 45%. You can vote on that one. We've got, in the Suk regional, a vicious cockfight between My Son is an Idiot and Screw You, ROP. Right now, My Son is an Idiot, 73%.
I have to tell my kid that. I'm sure he'll be
My
excited.
son is an idiot.
Wow.
Imagine if that wins and ends up on the T-shirt, and you have to explain that to their wives.
Yeah, the winner of these will get on a T-shirt available for purchase.
Which is the better drop? This is Suk Regional Round 1 matchup. There's up there now for you to vote on. It's Thick, It's Meaty versus Watchdog over the Metropolitus, which I love that one.
That's one of my faves.
You were reading from something.
Big fan. Yeah, we were reading about all the new UFL teams.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah, we're reading through because remember they had all the team names and then they had like little bios about each one. And they're the watchdogs over the Metropolitans.
Right now it's Thick, It's Meaty, leading 58% to 42%.
That I have no idea where that came from.
And in the ROP Regional Round 1 matchup of ROP is an Idiot versus In My Mouth, So Tasty, ROP is an Idiot is leading.
That's a little disappointing because the In My Mouth, that
would also be great on a T-shirt.
I love that one.
Rupp is an idiot.
Where's the? Come on.
I don't think I have that.
Oh,
I put that on your page.
Well, it's not there.
So you are an idiot. Yeah, I love that. It's in my mouth.
So tasty.
That one. There's just certain ones that just always get me, but. My personal favorite, and I know it's new, but I'm so sad it lost in the first round. The Milwaukee Butter Hog for me.
He's going to go get him one of those Milwaukee Butter Hogs.
You know, like when they do like what is it, America's Got Talent or whatever, whichever one has like the golden buzzer, like where like one of the judges can be like, I don't care if like no one else likes you, I'm putting you through. I'm doing that with the Milwaukee Butter Hog. If we're printing T-shirts, there will be a 1080 to the fan Milwaukee Butter Hog shirt. Plain and simple. It's going to happen.
So vote on X. There's 4 of them to vote on now. We'll announce the winners of those tomorrow and put up some new games, some new matchups for you on tomorrow's show. So let's get to the club. Let's talk about these fruit sellers.
Let's do it.
These bastards.
I actually think the ones out in front of my house are quite nice.
No, they're great.
That's
but
until you find out what they're up to.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
What's
like a
in
bunch
the
of
fruit?
10-year-old kids.
That's what you think.
Fentanyl's in the fruit.
What if they're not 10-year-old kids? What if it's just a bunch of criminal little people?
We think.
Didn't we have that? Wasn't that a thing where like someone thought they adopted a little like Ukrainian girl, but it turned out it was a mental patient that was a dwarf that ended up stabbing someone?
I don't remember all those details, but that sounds like
I'm
a
gonna
fascinating
look into that
story.
because I think that's a thing. Unless I got ball sacked, I think that's a legitimate story.
The club is next on The Fan.
This is Rick Jones of Goldberg Jones Divorce for Men.
story that I was talking about. Her name is Natalia Grace. That's not her birth name, but it's the one she got over here. And I guess there's a show on Hulu. There's a little docuseries about it. So she was adopted from Ukraine, and they said she was 10. She's not 10. She has a form of dwarfism, but just makes her look like a little kid. And her adoptive parents kind of got freaked out by her, so they just abandoned her and they moved to Canada and left her there by herself. They're like, they didn't know what to do. They're like, this girl ain't right. So they leave her, and then another family takes her in because they're like, this child's living alone. So they adopt her. Meanwhile, the first parents, they eventually get charged with neglecting a minor, but it turns out they didn't neglect a minor because she wasn't a minor. She was like 22 years old.
So was this a ruse on her end? Like, did she, like...
I don't...
I'm going to have to check this out.
That I'm not certain. But then the second family that ends up adopting her, they figure out that something's not right. They said that there's some of the quotes, I feel like she's an enemy in the house. Were held hostage. She tried to drag the mother into an electric fence. She would lay booby traps for family members, including like thumbtacks and other sharp objects in the house.
International problem child.
Yes.
Except problem adult.
But wait, she's how big?
She's 22 instead of 10.
Yeah, she's like 22 instead of 10. And by the way, we're still
but
not...
how big is she?
She looks like a 9 or 10-year-old. So however that...
You can't beat her up?
I don't... Well, at the time,
not if you think it's a kid.
Well, I'm not saying to beat her up, but I just mean you can't defend yourself against a 9-year-old.
Well, not when she's setting booby traps.
Yeah, the Barnetts were the second family, and they claim that she tried to poison the mom's coffee, and then kill her by dragging her towards an electric fence. She was also accused of
How does this girl drag you all the way to an electric fence?
Well, because she drugged you with the coffee.
Oh, was she drugged? Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what they said. They tried to drug her and poison her. So now Natalia, by the way, says she hasn't done any of these things.
My wife watched this. I looked her up.
Did she watch this?
Yeah, she watched it.
And they said that the one of the first family that abandoned her said that they were told by a doctor that she was a sociopath. This person is a con artist, and you're all in danger. So I love that their way of dealing with it was they just moved to Canada.
Like, if you really thought this was a daughter you'd adopted, that was your best course of action, we'll just leave this kid here in this country and change countries.
I mean, I don't know what you do, but
you'd probably go to child services or something. I don't know. You'd probably, what you don't do is abandon them.
Well, apparently you do.
Sounds like it was the smart move, though.
And I'd leave her high and dry.
Well, you feel bad because clearly, and she was abandoned in Ukraine, and, I'm guessing that she has probably seen and had to do stuff to survive that we can't comprehend. Being an orphan dwarf from, in Ukraine, I'm guessing that hasn't been an easy life. But I just think that's absolutely bizarre that you adopt what you think is a little girl, and it turns out she's like 20 and is trying to murder you. What? So, the curious case of Natalia Grace.
She doesn't look 9.
No, and that's the thing. Like,
these people are stupid.
She doesn't look like like what you would think a traditional little person looks like, but I also don't think she looks like a 10-year-old child.
She looks like a woman in a small body.
Yeah.
Like she looks like
She does.
She looks like a normal aged woman who is a dwarf.
Whatever.
But I will say that when you see some of the clips from the series, that's a recent photo of her. Some of the clips showing photos of her when they first took her in, she looks way more.
Oh, that's okay. I've seen the trailer for this. Now that I see some of the other pictures you're talking about, yeah, she did look a lot younger.
She
when
looks
it started.
way more childlike back then, as opposed to
the first photos that come up are her like put together as an adult for this documentary.
Yeah,
but like the initial ones, you could see how.
You could see how. She, I don't know if she had gone through, she clearly has gone through puberty, but back then she hadn't. She in some of these photos, she indeed looks like a little kid.
All right.
No, I just think that whole thing is.
Why are we talking about this?
How did that come up?
Last segment, you said wasn't there that story where that happened?
Oh, we were talking about the pop-up fruit selling illegals.
Yes, because you were saying those, you got to, and I was like, there's little kids The ones on my
Not on
street,
my street.
the one on my street corner are little kids. And
We
then I was
think.
like, well, maybe they're not little kids. Maybe they're like evil little people.
Now, how far are they from your front door?
Put
Put it in golf terms, please.
pitching wedge.
Okay, so that's
100
150 yards?
Yeah.
Well, 130 yards.
Yeah. It's not far.
These guys,
One house and across the street.
these guys are a 20-foot putt from me.
So it's right there.
Right there.
Right there. Because I got to turn a corner at least.
Now, I will say they are quite good about cleaning up any trash. And they actually aren't very loud. Like, they don't blare loud music or anything. I can hear them talking some, but they're usually just talking to customers, right?
Sure.
The worst part is the people that stop. Because it's kind of a busy street.
Yeah. Causes a bit
They're
of a...
super annoying, and they're loud, and they park... Like, parking rules don't apply because I guess they're just getting out of their car and buying strawberries. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to park right here in front of this guy's fire hydrant, and then I'm going to drive all over his bark dust and peel out.
Oh, they drove over your bark dust.
Yes.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Well, yeah.
I don't like that.
And they're loud. They're like, hey, can I get 2 bags of strawberries, please?
Look, the loud thing, I know that you're an old man and you hate loud things. So I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Well, somebody lives there.
But the bark dust, I don't like. Bark dust is sacred.
Look,
you
I
don't
just-
mess with another man's bark dust.
It's already a busy enough area.
Yes.
That I'm torn on this. I don't mind them selling the fruits. Although I have read that it is a giant trafficking scheme.
Yeah.
Have you read that?
I have not.
So, do they show up in their own car? Or do they show up with a big truck of produce?
I don't know because
early.
whenever I see them, they're already set up and there is no car. It's sometimes there is a mom and other times it's just a couple kids.
Okay.
And they're on the corner and they just have one little table and oranges.
So they're all over town.
Yes.
So they have set up right outside our front door. And every morning, seemingly every morning, a big white truck carrying produce drops them off.
Okay.
And
so
their
they're part
produce.
of a larger operation.
So yes, so they're going to drop the next guy up and the next guy up and get their produce to them. Well, the story that I read, and I don't know how accurate it is, but there's this talk that it's just so they get the fruit or the vegetables, whatever it is they're selling.
Sure.
And they come with the fruit and are smuggled into the country illegally and are trafficked.
So we smuggle the fruit and people?
Yes.
Isn't it cheaper to just get fruit here? Is fruit expensive?
Or maybe it's just the people. I don't know. But
it's a pair.
There's a bigger conglomerate
Yeah.
running this fruit ring.
Huh.
And the people, in some instances, are being trafficked and forced to sell this fruit.
Oh, that's no good.
Because you know they're not legal.
No.
Right?
No.
None of them speak any English.
No.
And like I said, they're generally pretty respectful because I think they're terrified.
Probably.
And they're just standing there selling oranges and strawberries, which, again, on the surface, look, I don't care.
Yeah.
But now we got people driving over my bark.
Yeah, people being loud.
We got people being loud.
Now, to be fair, that's not them. That's the customers.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what bothers me more is the customers.
Have you thought about putting up an old... Because, look, someone is right here. Isaac is a bit of an old-ass man, no offense. Vancouver 4 text line. Have you thought about doing a very Karen thing and putting up a sign asking people to be quiet while purchasing said fruit? I can see you putting a lawn sign in that says,
"Please be respectful.
Please be respectful while buying this produce. Keep it down,
Well,
and don't drive on the bark dust."
I would never ask people to do anything because people won't do anything because people are stupid and selfish and rude. That's just you're never going to fix that.
No.
So what I need is this fruit selling illegal guy to go away. That's what I need. So I am going to start plotting ways to do that.
You gonna move in some boulders?
Well, I could.
Boulders are expensive.
I have a lot of extra rock.
Oh, there you go.
From a landscape project that I happen to not be doing anything with. But that's a lot of heavy lifting.
You could probably hire the people selling different people selling the fruit to come in and plant said boulders.
Yeah, I
thought about turning on some sprinklers.
I can't reach them. I don't have auto sprinklers. Although I could do the manual sprinkler. That's a good idea.
I was just like,
but he's got an umbrella.
You could do the Danny sprinkler.
I'm sorry, what?
Huh?
Danny Sprinkler, the sprinkler.
I
We've
just
been
was
on that.
thinking about, remember that guy, like, was it like in San Francisco that was spraying the homeless guy in front of his house
With a hose.
with a hose? That didn't go over too well for him. Not certain how people would feel
But they're
about you
just-
sprinkling some fruit sellers.
So and I don't want to be a D, but you know,
Yeah, you don't like it.
I don't like it.
Now, to be fair, again,
And I don't know if it's legal or not.
I think you're not allowed to sell on street corners.
Well, I think you are, but you have to have a permit, right?
Yes, no one has a permit here. You can't just set up, because this is the old, like Karens do this all the time. Technically, little kids can't sit on a corner and sell lemonade. You can't do that, technically.
But I don't think. I mean, like if I call the cop, which I'm not going to do that.
I so want you to call the cops, please. I just want
See
to.
what they say.
I just want to hear what they say, because to be fair, look, we have a lot of police that listen to us. I guarantee the police have to receive calls on this all the time.
Oh, for sure.
And I told you the one out in front of my house. I see police there, not all the time, but there has been a handful of times that I have seen a Vancouver police officer talking to the fruit stand people. I don't know what they discuss. I don't know if they shoo them away, because I don't stick around to see the end result. But it certainly hasn't stopped the fruit people from coming back. They're at the same corner literally every day.
Well, I don't want the fruit mob on my ass either.
No,
you
no,
know,
you don't.
I'm respectful of the fruit mob. Look, I want you to sell your fruit. I just
Yeah.
don't want you to do it on my corner.
I understand.
How about that?
But you're doing the homeless thing where you're trying to boot them to someone else's
I
corner,
know.
and then it's a problem for that person.
I know, but that's way better for me. So let's go with that.
I love, this is one of your best old man takes, that you're upset because someone is being loud while selling fruit.
No, they're not loud.
Yeah, the people are.
So they're being loud while buying fruit.
It's just people are just rude. They don't think about anything. They just stop and like, oh, there's fruit.
It sounds more like inconsiderate.
It's
like
just like,
they're
dude.
unaware that it would bother anyone else.
The people are just, they have their heads up their asses.
I also find it fascinating that I enjoy fruit. I like fruit as much as the next guy. Every time I go to the grocery store, I buy some fruit. What I don't understand is the urge to buy street fruit and tons of it.
Yeah.
They are not selling 1 to 2 oranges. They're selling a sack or a box of oranges.
I don't get it. I don't get it either.
What am I doing with that many oranges?
Is it basically like buying them at Costco?
Why don't I just buy them at Costco?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and do you think that they
Is
are
it
more
a deal?
Is there the perception that they're fresher because
Well,
they're not
that's-
coming from like the supply chain?
I think that's what people think. But I would imagine they're covered in pesticides just like everything else.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if they
there's no way
advertise
those are organic grown.
Right. If they advertise those as organic, now I see why people are stopping.
So you're expecting me to believe that the traffic 12-year-old that's selling oranges on my street corner, like he grew those on his own farm without pesticides?
Well, look, I do think that's why people see it and stop. Like
People are dumb.
Exactly my point. We're back to that. Exactly.
Have you thought about going out and talking to said
What?
fruit sellers?
No, I tried to talk to the guy. I walk Molly by there all the time, and
Yeah.
they don't speak
They
English.
don't speak English.
No.
He just looks at you. And it's
He
like,
looks at me quite frightened,
Oh.
as if I'm
Yeah.
gonna call the cops or turn him into the.
I would be
Trump.
I would be uncomfortable looking like I look, approaching said fruit sellers, and most of them are very young. I don't want to do that, and I have no problem with the fruit sellers.
Again, I'm fine with them. They're very respectful. They're not loud, and obviously they have a lot to lose, so they mind their P's and Q's.
It feels like it's right out of this season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like you could see Larry going out there
Oh,
saying,
yes.
I support these fruit sellers, but you guys need to quiet. You can have the fruit, but you got to keep it down.
That is 100% a Larry David sort of thing. And as someone on the Vancouver Ford text line, street fruit is fresher and cheaper. How do you know it's fresher?
Yeah, I don't know how they know that.
You couldn't know that.
Yeah,
You don't know that.
exactly. Like you just think that that's like the. Like,
He probably went over to Freddy's and marked it up. He bought it from Freddy's and marked it up. And your dumbass is stopping. It's like, oh, the fresh fruit from a guy who doesn't speak English. Seems authentic.
But I don't know the cost. I do not know the cost
I don't
because
either.
I've never thought about buying. Now, if they sold, I've said this before, if they sold watermelon, I might be intrigued because that's the one singular fruit that I will buy. Pineapple, perhaps as well. If you had a pineapple or a watermelon for sale, you might get me. And like if you had like a watermelon, you were like $2. $2 for a big watermelon, you might get me on that. You might.
Can I set some booby traps for the customers?
You like dig like a tiger pit? Like a tiger pit?
Make sure that their tires get popped when they come by your
Yeah.
bark dust. Ooh, there you go. Put some spikes in your
I
bark
could
dust.
probably talk to. Well, you got Officer Potter. You could probably talk to him about getting some spike strips.
Spiking cars? That's got to be illegal, doesn't it?
And then they're going to blame the fruit sellers, not you.
Now,
Yeah, I need to pin something on the fruit sellers.
But let me ask you this, and I don't know the legality of this, right? Because they're driving on your bark dust.
Yeah.
What if we put the spike strips in your bark dust, covering them up a little bit so just the tips are sticking out? It's on your property, and if they drive on your bark dust, oops, here's a little bit of a surprise for you, and maybe they'll learn a lesson.
Yeah, we could do that.
I don't think you can put the spike strips in the street. I think we can put them in your bark dust. How is it illegal to put spikes in your yard?
I'll just say I didn't know how they got there.
Exactly. I don't know what you're talking about.
What are you talking about? Spike strips in
You
my
talking about Willis?
in the bark?
Yeah. Go figure. I love the idea of you setting booby traps in your bark dust.
This could be fun.
Put some live snakes out there. There you go. Just put a snake or two out there. That'll drive people away.
Get a python mating ball to go out there.
There you go. Get that mating ball happening. Put that in the side yard.
Fruit's not going to seem so appealing now, will it?
No. No one's braving a mating ball to deal of any kind, really, to deal with fruit. It's not happening.
All right. Look, the other thing is I feel like the fruit selling, not the people that are out on the street selling the fruit, but
Yeah.
I feel like the people behind the people on the street selling fruit,
Yeah.
the fruit mob, I feel like they're up to no good. I feel like there's an illegal operation going on there.
Is it the same people that are selling the flowers? Because the flowers,
I think so.
The flowers don't come to the neighborhood. The flower comes to the highway. And I often think the
no,
same.
we have flowers in our neighborhood,
You have
too.
flowers in the neighborhood?
Yeah, he just doesn't come down towards our street.
So I don't have the flowers, but on off of 205, I see Flower Guy all the time. And I'll tell you what, the flowers look pretty good. I can't say I've ever bought flowers from him. I've never been in the market for flowers when I see Flower Guy, but he's got decent flowers in the Home Depot bucket. So I don't know if that's the same conglomerate or does flower and fruit not mix?
I feel like the fruit's a way better operation. I mean, the flower thing is stupid. It's like,
if you want
the only time anybody is going to buy a flower from you is
Yeah.
just because it's just like, all right,
Well, like
fine.
Valentine's
It's a pity
Day or
thing.
Mother's Day.
By the way, RJ's
Well-
in. He says that you can't do anything on your property if you know it's going to cause purposeful harm,
Again,
even if it's your property.
You don't know that it's like, I don't know where those
What does
spike
he know?
strips.
They'd have to prove that you knew it was
prove
there.
that I did it.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you want to get me, you shouldn't be selling fruit and you shouldn't be selling flowers. You need to sell me burritos or tamales. If you had a tamale guy, if there was a tamale guy selling where that damn orange is, I'll tell you what, I'd be buying tamales 2 to 3 times a week. Back at my old my tattoo studio moved, my one over in Vancouver, Dark Star Tattoo, by the way, great place. They moved over to Fourth Plane, but they used to be in downtown Vancouver. And when I'd be sitting for tattoos, there was an old lady that had like a cooler that she would drag around with her in an old what are those red wagons, and it had hot tamales, and she would just drag them around. And I'll tell you what, every time that lady came by the tattoo place, round of tamales for everybody, and she'd sell you like 3 of them for $5. Phenomenal deal. Never once did she come by where I didn't buy a tamale, and that's while I'm getting tattooed. That lady needs to take that to the McGilvery corner. You sell me some tamales, and now we're doing business. Because I can't get, where am I getting tamales on a regular? I can get oranges wherever I want.
Yeah.
And I don't need a sack of oranges. You know what I need? I need a tamale, and I need it now.
What if I go up there and put up my own fruit stand and I lowball them?
How are you gonna beat their prices?
Well, I don't care. I'm just going to do it.
Ooh, I like it.
I'm not in it for profit. I'm in it to run them out.
It doesn't matter the cost
This
to me.
is the
I
Larry
can wait
that
them out.
You're latte
Hell yeah.
Larrying it. You're going to undercut them.
That's right.
I love it.
Yeah, I'll
Let's do that.
outspend them. There
Do
you go.
it.
Let's do that.
Yes. Go to Costco.
I'll have a nicer presentation.
Go to Costco, load up, and then you put your sign says fresher. Fresher, cheaper.
Fresher and cheaper right here.
Orangier.
God, yes.
And you can pet Molly if you want.
Let's do it.
All right. Oh, man, we're way over.
hell.
Coming up next, would you amputate a leg for $1.3 million? It is 6:27. We're not going to Sports Center. We're that far behind. Okay. We'll be right back.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
Well,
They have it at PDX too occasionally.
Yeah,
Like,
they do.
Random masseuses.
Yep, they do.
Yeah, and then
Masseurs.
I'm gearing down for my massage.
Well,
Yeah.
obviously you can't do that in public
Yeah.
like that. You just go over there and get a quick Scotty Scheffler.
Nah, I wouldn't do that.
No?
Nah. Again, the tamale people, the tamales are where it's at. You want me, tamale.
Hey.
Or, how about this? Discounted beef jerky. You set up some old trapper stands on the side of the road, and we knock it down by 15, 20%. Now we're talking.
Yeah, but that means they're making it, not buying it, and I ain't trusting that.
Hey, homemade beef jerky is pretty good.
It can be, but
Yeah.
I'm not trusting that guy.
That's true.
We do have a report of Johnson Creek Home Depot tamale guy.
Oh.
He's in the parking lot most days.
Interesting.
Johnson Creek Home Depot.
I go by that Johnson Creek parking lot. There's a Hawaiian joint I eat there all the time. I tried to purchase a homeless lady's dog from there a couple weeks back. It did not go so well. I don't like when the homeless person has a dog that they clearly can't.
That seems like it's either malnourished or not doing well, and it's like if you obviously you're not taking care of yourself. Can you do right by this animal? Yeah, I get it.
Bingo. And she was
You tried to buy it from her?
I did, in that exact parking lot, and she's there all the time.
And what'd she tell you? F off?
Yeah, she
Mind
just,
your own damn business?
She just said, "Why don't you just give me money?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
How
"Well,
about that?
I was like, I will give you money. I will give you a significant amount of money.
Ooh.
Give me the dog."
Look at you, rich guy.
Well, I went by.
How much would you give her?
I think I offered her $300 for it. I went by there's the Roxy's Hawaiian place right there in that Home Depot parking lot. So I'm there a bunch, and I was driving through, and the dog was tied to a sign in the parking lot, and the dog was roaming around. Like, the leash was long enough where it was in the road where cars were driving by, and it's a beautiful husky, and I didn't like it. I was like, dude, this is bad. So I got out of the car, and the dog came over to me and was super excited to see me, and I'm petting the dog, right? And I was giving it some of my leftover chicken, and the dog was an awesome dog. It was all over me, and I thought about just unleashing the dog and putting it in my car.
Look at you.
I was considering it, and I was like,
Dog napping.
I thought about it.
I love that.
And then the homeless lady came out and was all like, "What are you doing to my dog?" I'm like, "Getting it out of the road and feeding it." And then she was like, "Well," she's like, "You're feeding it. Why don't you feed me?" She was very uppity about the whole thing. And I was like, "Well, no, I'm not doing that." And she's like, "Well, can I have some money?" And that's when I was like, "I will pay you for your dog." And she was like, "The dog's not for sale." And I was like, "Well, what?" And I offered. I think I started out with like $100. I think I got to 300. It was an awesome dog. She clearly couldn't take care of it. The dog didn't want to be around her. And you can see it I see this lady all the time now with this dog. If you're out in that area, you'll see her. She's like a white gal with dreadlocks and homeless, and it's an awesome husky, like red color. And I offered to buy the dog. And every time I go back, I swear that dog gets tied up at different locations, and she's not around. And a handful of times I've thought about just saying, screw it. Just go take the dog, put
Liberation Project.
And just, that dog does not deserve that life.
Well, if you steal that dog, I don't think anything's going to happen to you.
Exactly. But at the same time, I feel crappy.
But it is her dog.
It is her dog.
Just because she's homeless doesn't mean she doesn't love her dog.
I know.
Well,
You
she's not
heartless
indicating
bastard.
that she's loving her dog.
But it's why it's the only reason why I haven't stole it yet. In my head, I'm like, what if that is the only reason that she wakes up in the morning?
Yeah.
But
that's a good thought.
Man, she's
a bitch.
Boy, I
hate it when the homeless get uppity.
Yeah.
That's bothersome.
Yes. Yeah.
Like when they're panhandling.
Yeah.
And then they get mad at you for not.
"Oh, you'll feed my dog, but you won't feed me." It's just.
No, I'll feed you.
"Give me some money." Go to hell. I was going to give you some money. Give me the damn dog. Like, I'll take care of that dog. But you won't take care of me.
Here's RJ. He said, we had a guy come into Costco all the time. You know, RJ's a Costco bro.
Yeah.
We had a guy come into Costco all the time. He would buy honey. He would go into the bathroom stall, pour it into jars, then go out onto the street corner and sell it like it was from his own bees.
All natural honey here.
I respect that hustle. That's genius.
Is it?
I'm not thinking if someone's selling honey that they went and jacked it from Costco. Like,
Well-
I'm not like applauding
it's
this
like
person,
the
but
fruit
it's pretty
thing.
clever.
This is the thing. People
Way
buy
more
that
clever than
crap.
the fruit.
But I know, but the fruit thing, you still don't know where it came from.
Of course not. But I'm more inclined to believe the person with the quote unquote fresh honey, because how would they have orchestrated that?
They went in and bought it.
I know, but I wouldn't have thought that. I like the idea.
And by the way, someone did point out, I have also conjured up in my head the idea that she stole the dog, and then that justifies me stealing it, but I don't.
Don't take her
I'm
dog,
not taking the
okay?
dog, but I will tell you that scenario did go through my mind. I'm like, I bet she stole that dog. It's a good-looking dog.
All right, we got to go. There is a Taiwanese student who had his leg amputated for $1.3 million.
I'm thinking.
Was it worth it? That's next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the Fan Sports
Is that what it is?
Quora, I think.
Yeah.
Quora?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It pops up. That's the first thing that pops up. Is it okay to take pets away from homeless people?
No.
Yes, it's illegal. Not owning a home does not remove the right to own other things. It's also the act of an absolute hellbound bastard.
The best part is when I called my lady friend, my special lady friend, to tell her about this situation. You know who was so on board with me stealing the dog?
Big time
Her.
Japanese.
Oh, she wanted it so bad. She's like, do it. And then and someone else on the
What?
Vancouver 4 text line said, headline, January 6 rebel steals homeless woman's dog. That thought also crossed my mind because it's right in front of like a Best Buy and a Home Depot. Plenty of security cameras. I thought, what if this lady, what if that becomes a story and I end up on KGW
Dude.
stealing some homeless woman's dog?
I tell you what, that would not go over well in Portland.
No.
You
No.
would be villainized.
Yes.
You would be no Larry David.
No.
Was he give the water to the woman in the
I would
voting
not. I would
line?
not be celebrated.
He becomes a hero.
Yes.
Yeah, you would not. No. You would be shamed.
But I'm telling you, if anyone's out in the Johnson Creek exit there with the Fred Meyer and the Home Depot, the Best Buy, be on the lookout. You will see it. It's a beautiful red husky. And by the way, if you're missing a beautiful red husky from that neighborhood, look in the parking lots because she's there all the time.
I will say, you stealing that dog seems like something you would do.
But
That's kind of on brand for you.
I didn't. I thought about it.
Not yet. You haven't.
I thought about it, and I didn't.
How many more times are you going to be tempted to steal that? Because you're going to think about this every time you see that dog now.
It's happened at least a half a dozen times where I've seen the dog.
Well, there's half a dozen more.
Am I eventually just going to have to avoid the area? I'm going to have to find a new Hawaiian restaurant to eat at.
No, I think you're eventually going to take the dog.
Well, I can't now because I've talked about it.
I think you can.
No.
And I think you will.
Yeah, you just say, I was so inspired by that red husky, I just needed to get a different one. Sure, it wasn't a different
You'll
one.
find a way to justify it. Especially if the lady wants it.
I can't do it. Like you said, what if that's, again, it could be that lady's security. It could be her only reason for existence.
Yeah, some people brought up a good point. They said that a lot of people who are homeless have dogs because they warn them of dangers.
Yeah, it's tough out there on the streets.
At night and stuff like that. I don't know how much I buy that.
Well,
but,
I can't steal the dog. I want to, and I can't.
I think you will.
Someone
you heard
asked,
it here first.
And someone asked, indecent proposal style, is there a number where I would sell my dog? Yes, everyone has that number.
Well, what you got to do is you got to pay Shohei Ohtani's interpreter to steal it for you.
I'll tell you what, if someone, I love my Akita Ka, he's the best dog I've ever had. But if someone offered me $4.5 million for my dog, I'd be like, buddy, it's been a hell of a run, pal. Enjoy your new home in Japan.
Hell yeah.
Daddy's got a new set of golf clubs on his way. Let's go.
All right, I can't get it to amputee news. We'll get to that tomorrow. We'll wrap it up next on The Fan. Yo, bro. Window Nation. The bros at Window Nation want to save you some money. You guys need some extra cash so you can, I don't know, buy a dog for home.
and vote hard.
Tomorrow, our show will be at A Casino.
And Friday.
Yep. Now, we're going to be on a little bit late because the Ducks game will be on the air.
But as soon as it's over, do we have to take any of the pregame, Buckley? Or the postgame?
I do believe we are obligated to take some of the postgame. I don't think we have to take the stuff that they do back at studio, but stuff that is live from site, we will have to take.
Okay, so
contracts, bro.
So maybe like 3:30-ish, right? 3:30,
Yeah, I think about 3:30.
Probably around there.
Hopefully they don't go to overtime.
No.
In their dismantling of the Cox.
So just trust us. If you turn us on at 3 and we're not there, give it a minute. We'll be there.
Yeah, so
hold on, everybody.
If you bros want to go out and watch the, what do they say? You play hooky?
Yeah.
And you go watch the tournament? There really is not a better place than A.
No.
The Stadium Sports Bar there.
Everything you want. And they got a hotel now, so if you tie one on, get a room.
And I'm sad our friend Hugh has left A. He's no longer with A.
It will no longer be Hugh
So he won't be up there, but I will be.
We're told a representative will come by. We'll find somebody.
Yeah, I was like,
I don't know, just generic. I don't know. Somebody.
Hey, here's Fred.
There you go. Hey, don't discount Fred.
Fred
Maybe he's
knows
great.
ball.
That's right.
Suk will be there. Danny and Dusty will be there.
Yeah, we hope. They have a half-hour show.
Yeah, so they're going to get housed.
I would hope so.
30 minutes and then the Duck game? Dude.
It's go time.
By the time we're off the air, those two are going to be 3 sheets.
Yeah. I met up with the great Josh Wilcox the other day out at Bricks, and he met Dusty after Dusty's show, and then I came afterwards, and let's just say by the time I showed up, the evening had already gone off the rails, and I'm guessing it will be something along those lines. By the time we roll in, it's go time.
The thing about A is there's a lot of fun you can have up there. It's like if you have a couple of pops and you're not driving.
Yeah.
The world is your oyster. You could sit there and watch the tournament.
Yeah.
Have a couple more pops. You can go eat a nice meal at Michael Jordan's.
Yeah. Throw some dice.
You could roll some craps.
Play some slots.
You could go get a slice of pizza, and I don't know, maybe there's a band playing on the other side. Like, they have a lot going on out there. And there's a hotel now.
With a pool, apparently.
So you can just go crash
there. You can go in there and dog paddle.
So that's tomorrow's show and Friday's show.
Yes.
We call it Fan Madness, and it's brought to you by George McCoy.
Good times will be had.
At Warren Allen Attorneys at Law.
Personal injury.
Almost got that.
Someone hurt you.
Almost got that wrong.
You can show them on the wall where it happened.
I once had a shot of tequila with George McCoy.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Good dude?
Great dude.
I've never hung out with him. I've hung out with the 1-800-DIVORCE guys.
Yeah, those guys are great too.
Great people.
George is, he doesn't look like you would think he would look.
No?
George. But I ran into him at our golf tournament, and we walked from the hole we were on all the way over to the tequila tent.
Oh. And you got to have a little chit-chat with him?
And we were hanging out with the Victor Rico's guys.